Okay, it's showtime. Or actually, we just got finished. So now it's discussion time. Um,
Right. Okay.
I hear baby in the background. Hey, Juniper.
She's back there. She's fussing right now. She's not in a very good mood tonight. I don't know why. She hasn't taken a nap all day, so she's very fussy. So
Ah, well, I guess
well,
that's
I'm sorry that movie wasn't really very good. In my opinion, anyway. I thought that it had a really good script, but I thought it had one of the worst, least charismatic lead actors I've ever seen in any movie ever. I
the
cannot believe
guy.
they. Yeah, I cannot believe they based the entire movie around that actor. Like he had no emotional range at all. He didn't. He never. His entire emotional range was just this.
Well, I feel the same way about the girl. I think she was the worst part of the whole movie. Like, I'm
She
not. She
she
was
was
the
bad
whole
too.
reason their relationship didn't go anywhere. I don't know what people see in those bitchy, moody, flat, monotone women. There was nothing exciting or sexy
Yeah,
about her. How
I
was
agree.
she
She's
anybody's
barely
woman?
she's barely in it though. To be fair, but yeah, she's an honorable well written character. You certainly don't feel like the movie's missing anything when she's not on the screen. That's for sure.
I thought she. No, it actually did try. Like, it sucked
The
something
life out
out
of
of
it.
the movie when she was on the screen. The first hour was great. I was ready to give it two thumbs up. I thought it was a wonderful satire, and then when the alien got to Earth, it took a completely different turn. It's like the plot lines changed. All the threads they had set up in the beginning didn't go anywhere. They introduced a new tone and plot to the movie. It became like this sappy drama. So everything they spent the first hour setting up in the second half, they didn't do anything with.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think that first of all, I completely agree with like the daughter character from the other family. She's terrible. The actress isn't very good.
I'm resentful that she even got paid for the show. Like, she's even making money to do this shit. I hate
Yeah.
her so much.
Yeah, but I think the lead actor was also just almost. I mean, his character was better written, but his performance is equally as bad. He has no
I don't think it was
charisma at
equally as
all.
bad. I think she was way worse, but he was okay.
I
She
mean,
was
I think I
she was
think
like a
they're
negative.
I think they were both really hard to watch on screen, and he's on screen pretty much in every scene. So that's the reason why I'm putting him for a character that takes up
He wasn't
80% of the
mopey like
movie.
she was. He
Are
wasn't like
you kidding me? He's completely mopey. He's not even
he was
mopey. He does
not like she was. He was just flat, but
yeah, just flat. Yeah.
she was actively depressive and
I,
depressing.
I mean, people think that Ryan Gosling has no range or something like that, but Ryan Gosling has shown that he can at least do that. This guy, I don't believe he has any range. He literally has one expression on his face the entire movie, and it's just this slack jawed, just like
But
the whole
that's
movie.
different from the negative affect that she was displaying from the
No,
beginning.
I mean, I'm agreeing with you there. I agree. She's worse. She's a worse character, but she's also only in like 30% of the movie. The entire movie is based around him. Everything that happens in the movie is his kind of like the movie is about him, and he has zero charisma. He has
Yeah.
zero anything. He's just flat the whole time. Now I like the
I,
rest of the cast though. The rest of the cast was interesting. Like I thought Tiffany Haddish was good in it. I thought whoever played the dad was pretty decent.
Josh Hamilton.
He's not a great character, but like the performance was good. I thought even the sister performance was better. The performance of like
She was hardly in the movie too. I
she's
don't even
yeah
know why
barely
she
in
was
it.
there.
Yeah,
She had
she's
no
barely in
role.
it.
They could have cut her out of the script. We would have never noticed.
I completely agree, but she's still a better performance than either of the two leads. I have no idea what the hell they were doing here. Like, why a director would base an entire movie around two actors that cannot act or just have no range in acting at all. It was just baffling to me. It was incredibly hard to watch because like even during like the most emotional, the most important scene, probably the pivotal scene in the movie is like the scene in the office with the alien, right? And he's like telling him all the stuff that's wrong and that's what leads to like their breakup and everything like that. And the entire scene, his entire expression is just. I mean, like, is it? I started thinking maybe it was a commentary on the youth of today or something like that. But if that's the case, it's a bad one. So
That's what I
I
was
mean,
wondering if it's a Gen Z thing because they had like the Gen Z doomerism and like their dystopian, not even vision
it,
of the future but present.
but here's the thing, though. You can make a movie like
Like,
that
if that's
about
just
those.
the Gen Z personality.
You could make a movie
Emerald,
like that.
what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
It was like depressing. I don't know. The movie was such a slow burn too. Like I didn't even understand what was happening the whole time. I was mostly watching it for like the commentary at one point. I'm just like, okay, I'm here for the dialogue, I guess. But even that wasn't compelling. I was like, what is?
I'm with you. I'm sorry I subjected us all to this. It was
it's fine. I mean, interesting trailers like that.
It has an interesting premise, and I think the script is actually fairly interesting in some places, and it has a lot of good ideas, but it has no idea how to execute those ideas at all. It's just boring drag for the most part.
And they didn't go anywhere with the streaming. That was the hit for me. And
yeah.
In the beginning, they said, like, I would totally live stream my life and my daily life and all of that if I had one of those nodes. In fact, I want one. But they didn't do anything with it.
They didn't. You're right. I mean, like the closest thing came to doing with it was like the commentary on like how on audience capture and art at the end, right? But see, I think it would have been a better ending if he had gotten there on the ship and he'd seen what they did to his art, and then he was like, and then he smiled and accepted it and just went on. That would have been a better, darker ending, and it would have been more of a commentary on streaming culture and stuff like that and audience capture. And I think that's what it's going for. It's supposed to be about audience capture, about how people are, kind of subjected to like, putting their lives on camera and trying to be themselves, and at the same time it's still a performance and all this stuff like that, and all the requirements of the audience. I like all that part of it, the awareness of it, of what is what happens in streaming, but it doesn't go anywhere with it. And then when it finally gets there to the point where you think it's really going to make a point out of it, instead he's just like, no, I can't do it, and he runs away, and that's the end of the movie. And it's just like, okay.
I thought he was going to say something.
And then his ex-girlfriend was like dating multiple guys throughout the movie, just in like the background, like a different guy at dinner each time.
There's some subtle comedy.
I was like, what?
I've never had an actor more unpleasant act. Like she evokes so much negative emotion every time she was on the screen.
I know.
Yeah, no, she's terrible. She really was. I've never seen that actress before. I've never seen the lead actor before. I've never seen either one of them before. Like I said, the only reason I'm being more harsh on the lead actor is because he's in 80% of the movie, as opposed to the 30% the other girl is in. And I agree. She's absolutely terrible. She drags down every scene she's in.
Yeah.
However, I think that the lead actor was just as bad because of how much he's in it, and he's flat as hell. And he never. I mean, why can't you have a charismatic actor? Just like, I mean, it doesn't matter if the rest of Gen Z is like that. You can still have you still want to have a character that you can follow. I didn't want to follow this guy. I didn't care about anything he had to say or think or anything. I didn't think his art was good. I didn't think anything about the character was interesting. But the world it set in, the whole concept of the world building, it's all really interesting, really good. I mean, it has a really great premise behind it, and it just goes nowhere. I don't know. I hated it. I hated it.
I don't know what was happening. I thought it was going to go somewhere the whole time.
Yeah, it didn't. Like the first hour, it did. It was on a track to go somewhere. And then they did nothing with it. Even when the alien came to Earth, we hardly saw him. That plot didn't even go anywhere.
In the first scene, like, hooked me. When we saw the spaceship, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. Like, what? You don't see that spaceship ever again.
Because the world itself is interesting. Like, the whole idea of, like, these weird-looking, like, puppet-looking aliens, and, like, the fact that the way that they integrate, and the whole scene that it sets them all up in the classroom thing. I thought that all that was interesting. The dude shooting himself. I thought there was like some really. This is like prime fertile ground for a really good story, right? And then it's just like I don't know, like maybe nothing happens. I mean, it's just really it's one of the most disappointing movies I've ever watched. At least in the last few years, is one of the most disappointed I've been in a movie. I really
did. You like the aliens? I feel like they look like little turkeys, like.
I didn't like them, but I think you're supposed to like them. I think they're supposed to be kind of weird and off-putting, and I like the concept of those aliens, because we always imagine what like the aliens are gonna. If we were to see aliens, they would be something humanoid-like. The fact they're not humanoid in any sense, that they're only be vaguely considered to be like have anything that resembles a human being. I think the fact their mouths with like butts and everything else is just like it's so off-putting. Like it makes you think like, what if aliens really were like that, right? I do like that aspect of it, but. It doesn't do anything with that either. There's that one scene with like the dad from the lead character's family. That I thought there was something interesting to go with that. I thought that might be an interesting shooting off point. Yeah. Never goes anywhere. He just disappears, and that's the end of it.
No, And he could have run after like the part where he just stands and watch him walk away. He could have easily called dad or run after him. Where are you go? Like that, the characterization just was not credible to me.
It felt like because that I just really like that actor. I'm pretty sure it's the actor that played this character Chidi in The Good Place.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
love
movie.
him.
It's a show I really like, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that actor. And I could only imagine when that scene happened, I was like, oh, I get it. The actor realized what a piece of shit movie he's in. He ran for the door because he didn't want to be in this fucking movie anymore. Because he was the most. I was like, that was the most I perked up the whole movie. I was like, oh, I like him, and he has a lot. He has all the charisma the main character lacks. In that one scene, you get a brief glimpse of like what the movie could have been like if you had him in the lead role, and then it just he takes off because the movie's shit. So it's whatever, man. It was not. Yeah. I mean, I feel suckered because like the trailer really made it look like there was something. It seemed like such an interesting premise that you couldn't fuck it up. But
not only the trailer, the entire first hour of the movie, had me thinking it was.
It had me thinking that it didn't matter that the actor wasn't. That there was a reason the character wouldn't be interesting. That there was something that was going to happen, some sort of like catalyst point that was going to make this movie take off, and it doesn't. It pretty much refuses to happen. It keeps giving good opportunities to have something happen, and then it just kind of refuses to. And it's just, I don't know. It's very, very disappointing to see a writer or director fall on his fucking face that fucking hard for no real reason. There's just like, there's no reason to like write so weak script.
Well, it also was based on a book, so I thought it was the plotting, but if it was, then whosoever wrote the book.
I do feel like if they'd had a good lead actor and lead actress, if there had been a charismatic leads in those two roles, those two pivotal roles, I do think the script could have been salvageable if you had a character or at least an actor that was interesting to watch, instead of the most boring lead actor I've seen in a movie the last 5 years, probably.
I don't know if that would have made up for the plot defects.
It may not have, but at
because
least
it
it could have
set
been
certain
entertaining.
plot expectations that did not get fulfilled.
I agree.
In fact, they got outright frustrated.
I agree. I mean, it doesn't. There was obvious ways to end it, even with the kind of dog shit direction it takes. Because I don't like the direction it takes towards the end. The whole sudden like Deus Ex Machina of like he makes a mural that everyone really likes, and then they take him. I thought that was bullshit because it doesn't really come out of the story. I'll tell you what, there's this other movie that I saw like a couple of years back that up until this point, I don't know, this may be one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm actually thinking about this movie, this is really one of the worst things I've seen in a while because of how much potential is there and how much it squanders that. And that to me, like that's the mark of like a truly bad thing. There's this movie called Vox Lux.
Vox Lux.
VOXLUX. It starred Natalie Portman. And it had this really kind of interesting premise. It was about this girl who was a survivor of a school shooting. And kind of by accident, kind of on purpose, she kind of uses the fame from the school shooting to become a pop star. It's a really interesting premise, kind of like the kind of the dark side of like how you could use a traumatic incident to like make your life better and stuff like that. It kind of like it seems like it's going to go in, and it also does absolutely goddamn nothing with it. And I have never been as angry walking out of a movie, I think, as it was that one. I actually watched it in theaters, and I couldn't even speak walking out of the movie. I was just like, I was so like gobsmacked by how bad what I watched was. Literally, the movie does nothing. It kind of like plays around a little bit with her becoming a pop star. And it cuts forward like 20 years till she's Natalie Portman. And then Natalie Portman is like a bad mom now, and she's like not really nice to her daughters. And then she goes on stage and performs, and that's the end of the movie. And it was just like, what? Like, what did we just? Why did you make this? Like, what is this even about? And that's how I felt about this. I felt like it felt like it had like this really great premise, this really great setup, a decent script for the most part, and a great supporting cast. And then it's just like, I don't know, fuck you. It feels like the movie's telling the audience to fuck itself. It really feels like that to me. That's how it feels.
I don't think that was. I just think they were incompetent. It was just incompetent.
Incompetent, yeah.
I don't think it was a fuck. Nobody would invest that much just to say fuck you to an audience, especially after investing so much in the setup.
Not intentionally, no. It's not like an intentional type thing. It's not like a troll to the audience, but it's how it ends up coming across because of how little care was paid to the actual actors and performances. I mean, seriously, like were these two lead actors like is this like a, I don't even know. It's not even like one of them's like a white girl and the other one's a black guy. Is this like diversity? Like is it a DEI type shit or something like that? How did they get these roles? How did they
I
get
don't
these
know
roles?
because I don't know how the book was written. If the
Yeah,
book
that's
was
true.
written that way, or if that was a casting decision.
I mean, most books are adapted and like they can change. So I don't. And plus, it's like it really isn't about the script for those for the actual actors. The characters weren't written that badly, but the performances made them unlikable and terrible, and like that's what made them bad. So I just can't imagine how the book could be written in a way where, I don't know. Maybe made me mad. That's why I'm ranting like this.
I see that.
Yeah.
The characterization was bad, yes, but my biggest criticism was the plotting, and I don't know how much of that came from the book.
Yeah, I don't know either.
The book itself could have just been very poorly plotted.
That's true, but I mean, like most movies that are adapted from books are heavily adapted, and that's part of the thing of an adaptation is that you're not supposed to follow the book closely if it doesn't work for a movie. If this is the case, if the book was good, then it doesn't matter if the book is good. You adapt it for the screen. If you don't know how to do that, then you shouldn't be making movies, in my opinion. So I don't know. It made me very upset to see such a great premise and such a great world squandered on such a dog shit movie. Like I said, I thought even I've seen Tiffany Haddish in things before that I've liked. I've seen her in things I didn't like. I've seen her be good, and I've seen her been bad. So I mean, she can kind of like I can leave her, take her, or leave her a lot of times. But I thought she was pretty good in this for the most part. But she was probably the only other character that was really all that compelling, to be honest. Like, yeah,
I like
she's not
the son, the brother.
Yeah, it was interesting. There was something there, like with his weird like plastic surgery thing. I think that was supposed to be like where his eyes got like, he gave him some sort of forehead thing, I guess, right? Am I really lagging on your side? Because I keep lagging over here. Lagging.
Oh, lagging. No, but your lighting is
No.
you just look like a silhouette.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's the same lighting I have every time, and it's really bad right here. Here, I'll stop the camera for a second. I'm gonna see if I can turn the light on.
We are waiting for him. Yeah, I don't have much more to say about the movie. I really liked the first hour. I was all ready to.
Yeah.
It was a satire.
I liked the first hour.
I was coming to realize how satire is probably one of the genres that are still like fresh, and people are doing interesting things in that genre than they are in comedy and romance, drama, that type of stuff. Although I haven't seen The Whale yet. That one might be pretty good.
I have that on the server too.
They have it on there. I have it. I just haven't sat down and tried to watch it.
Yeah, the premise, I don't know. It's probably very good because I like Darren Aronofsky as a director, and he did The Wrestler, which is a very similar type of film, and that was very good. And he also did that one about boxing. I think it was pretty good. That had Christian Bale in it, and I can't remember much about. I think it had Mark Wahlberg too. I can't remember much about it. Now, The Fighter, I think.
Yeah, The Fighter.
Yeah, those are both pretty good. And Aronofsky in general, like Pi and Requiem for a Dream, were both good. Mother is one of the most overwrought, like completely like bizarre, like, oh look, it's a metaphor for the Bible thing I've ever seen in my whole life. But it might be worth watching again. I don't know. But the Whale is just like the whole concept of it. I don't know. I just don't know if I really care about watching a movie about a really fat guy that reconnects with his daughter. I don't know. Maybe it's really great, but the premise does not intrigue me.
That's what draws me in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure the performance is great because Brendan Fraser is a great actor that's never really gotten much. He's never really gotten a lot of credit for how good he is. I think. Did you ever see Blast from the Past? I think that movie's great.
Mm-mm.
It's really good. It's like the whole premise is like Christopher Walken plays his dad first of all, so that right away gives it a leg up on most movies. It's Brendan Fraser and Alicia Silverstone are the main two actors. Dave Foley's in it. His family.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of. For some reason I get it confused with Pleasantville.
That's
That's the one where
they have
they're
some
in the
similarities.
fallout shelter.
Yeah.
I think I did see part of it.
It's actually really, I mean, it's really great just in the sense that Brendan Fraser's character is like doing the fish out of water thing that he does in so many other movies, but he does it really well in that movie. And I think it's got a really sweet premise. It's just a good movie. It's a really good, generally like just like entertaining movie. It's nothing deep. It's nothing too spectacular, but it's got a great Christopher Walken performance, and that's always a plus. And Brendan Fraser's great in it. I mean, I don't even like Alicia Silverstone in many things, and I like her in that movie. So, and Dave Foley's always a plus in my book. I'm a huge Kids in the Howl fan. So, but yeah, no, Pleasantville. I've got that on the server right now. If you want to check it out, Jeff, if you want to like see if like it looks appealing to you. And I think Pleasantville's got some really interesting things to say probably about today. I do think there were some interesting. I think that in Landscape of the Invisible Hand probably has some interesting things to say about streaming culture and things like that. But I just don't think it comes through because the movie itself is so bad at communicating anything. But maybe those points were all from the book, though. I don't know. I don't get the impression that the writer of this movie was quite. Maybe he bit off more than he could chew with this adaptation or something like that. I don't know. It's just, man, it's really disappointing. I really wanted to like it. I'm mad because I really wanted to like this movie. I really wanted to like it a lot. I thought the premise was really so interesting. I even liked the kind of the title of it. I thought the title was weird and artistic in a way that you don't see many movies get titled. And yeah,
I knew it was going to be the title of the painting. Probably the one they ended on.
No, you
well, what are we watching? Actually, we can't watch anything next week because I'm gonna be at my Wildman weekend.
Okay, cool.
But so that gives us 2 weeks to figure out what we're watching next. And then Tuesday we're gonna start. Oh, we're gonna start True Detective. But Emerald, I do have to work, but I can still do an hour. So if you want to meet at 6:30.
So what time?
6:30
my time.
Yeah, and that'll give us a chance to do the very first episode, and then we can in fact, let me see how long it is. And then
is it a long series?
I think it's 9 episodes.
How many seasons?
There's 3, and they're about to do a 4th, but they're all self-contained. So none of the characters carry from one season to the other. The first one is really the best one. We don't really have to watch the other ones. Although
I season 2, yeah, I know. Yeah, I would like to hear more of your opinions on season 2 because I've never heard anyone defend that season of television before. So
I love, but I didn't have the expectations you did because I didn't know a single thing about it going into it. So I got to enjoy it just as a pure art. Vince Vaughn's character arc was the
I do like Vince Vaughn in it.
Whole season to me, and the wife.
So like the movies I have on the list that I think that could be interesting. I have Pleasantville on there. The Jerry Maguire Last Temptation of Christ. I put The World's End on there. If you haven't seen that, I think that one's really just kind of interesting for right now. Babylon, which I haven't seen yet. I haven't seen that one. There's a movie called Men that I've heard a lot of like controversial things about, so it might be interesting to watch and talk about. Schizopolis is a great film. It's one of my favorite movies of all time.
What's it called?
Schizopolis. It's this movie from Steven Soderbergh that he made in the early 90s, I think. But it's just this really weird kind of like, it's a very, very weird movie, but it's my favorite openings of all time. It's like this, the director, Steven Soderbergh, actually comes onto the stage. It's like a live theater type audience. And he comes out and he says like, he just wants everyone to know that if you don't understand this movie, that it's your fault because you're not smart enough for this movie. and so he just wants everyone to know that if you don't understand it, then you need to watch it many times and pay for it every time until you understand it. I think it's very funny.
Is that true?
No, it's a joke. It's clearly a joke whenever you see it too. Triangle of Sadness, which supposedly has some interesting commentary about socialism and capitalism type stuff. I don't know how good it is or bad it is. I haven't seen it yet.
So some of these you haven't seen. They're just want to see.
Yeah, they're just movies that I have on the server that I think are interesting and are worth like checking out. Antichrist, which I have seen, is a very interesting film about men and women about
Ooh.
I'd say Lars von Trier. I don't know if you've ever. All of his movies are kind of about men and women and
Yeah,
the
what did he
dynamics
do?
between.
I have watched some of his.
Breaking the Waves, for example. Funny Games. I don't know if he's had any hits in the U.S. Most of his movies are pretty on the outskirts of kind of. But Breaking the Waves is his most famous. It's it won a couple of Oscars. Antichrist is kind of infamous.
Oh, he did
Dogville.
Melancholia.
Yeah, he did Melancholia. There you go.
I tried to watch that one. I couldn't get into.
Yeah, that
it
one's
for
not
some
great.
reason. And he did Dance in the Dark.
Did Dance in the Dark too? Yeah, that one I do like. Duke of Burgundy, which I thought is very interesting. A very interesting movie that I started watching it, but I got tired one night and I didn't end up finishing it. But I thought it'd be interesting to watch. I don't know. It's kind of like it's kind of some weird artsy thing about sexuality or something like that. Charlie Wilson's War. I just put that one on because we talked about it once. Don't Worry, Darling, which is the movie that infamously has a character based on Jordan Peterson, apparently, that I've not seen and I've heard is very bad, but it might be fun to watch and laugh at. I don't know. I've got Birdman, which I don't know why I put that one on there right now.
I've seen Birdman.
Yeah, I don't know why I put that one on there.
About it.
I think I might have. I don't know why I put it on there. I think it was probably because it's about like kind of like a relationship between audience and an actor kind of thing, kind of like a performer. I don't remember why I put that on there. And then if we were to continue like the theme of like something about streaming, there's this movie called Cam that's supposed to be good about a girl that does OnlyFans type stuff or something like that. But I don't know if it's any good or not. It might be really shit. I don't know if it's worth the risk of that. Babylon looks interesting. It's the guy that did Whiplash and First Man about early Hollywood. It came out earlier this year, and I think it kind of flopped. But it had some interesting looking aspects to it. It's got Margot Robbie in it and Brad Pitt, I think. So World's End is a great movie. Oh, what were you gonna say?
I'd also like to do some of the Charlie Kaufman stuff, like John Malkovich adaptation, Synecdoche, New York.
He is my absolute hero as a writer. I would gladly watch anyone. I've seen adaptation probably 50, 60 times. So like I can pretty much quote that movie.
I haven't seen him in a while. I really have. I've only seen Synecdoche, New York once.
Synecdoche, I've watched only 3 times. It's a very hard watch. I mean, I love the movie, but it's a very hard to watch movie. It's just it hits me in a really deep place. Being John Malkovich, also great. So is, for that matter, Human Nature, I think it was called. His kind of one-off. The first movie he did with Michel Gondry, which he also did Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind with, which is also a great film. I tried
to watch that one. And then they had that one with the puppet, Anomalisa or something.
Anomalisa, yeah. Annalisa or Anomalisa, I think it is, yeah. Yeah, that one hit me kind of in a weird emotional place too. I didn't even understand like why it made me feel the way it did, but it definitely made me feel kind of weird.
I'm thinking of ending things. I saw that one too.
I haven't actually watched that one.
It's Emerald might enjoy it too. It's a really weird little. I wouldn't even call it a rom-com. It's a couple and they go on a road trip to visit his parents or something, and they're not sure if they want to break up or not when they first get in the car, and so there's the tension of what's going to happen to their relationship on this road trip.
I think I'd like that.
I saw the first like 20 minutes of it, and for something about it like was making me uncomfortable, so I stopped watching it. I'm not saying I don't want to watch it. I thought to myself at the time, I was like, I need to watch this when I'm in a better. At the time, it was whenever Lindsay was in psychosis, and so it was hitting me in a really weird place that was very, very painful for me. So that's why I didn't watch it. But I had kind of forgot it happened after that. So I'd love to try to watch it again.
Maybe let's do that one next time, like 2 weeks. Because I watched it during COVID and I don't remember much about it. I need to see it again. It's a character driven. Like the 2 actors really carry the show, and dialogue.
They're good actors.
There's some weird parts too. I just don't remember what they are.
No, yeah, it's like I said. Like remember watching the first 20 minutes of it. I liked what I saw, but I I had to stop watching it. But I do like the two actors like Jesse Plemons, who I think he's mostly known for Breaking Bad, but he's barely in Breaking Bad. I don't think he's really that memorable in that. I think he's much more memorable as he was one of the main actors in the first season of Fargo, the Fargo series. I don't know if you saw any of that. It's also an anthology series for similar True Detective, but each season's its own like self-contained story. And the very first season of Fargo is pretty damn good, actually. Pretty damn interesting.
I didn't even see the movie.
Really
I tried to watch the movie and I couldn't even make it do that.
Oh, the movie and the TV show are completely unrelated. Even though like I guess it's like the property is Fargo somehow, but like it's just like each season is a little self-contained like Midwestern noir thing. Actually, I think it was the second season he was in, and not the first season. Now, the first season is Billy Bob Thornton is like the main bad guy in that one. Yeah, no, and I think the first and second season were both really good. The third season had another actress in that I really liked, but it had not Ethan Hawke. Yeah, played Obi-Wan in the prequel Star Wars movies. So it's Ewan McGregor. Had Ewan McGregor in it. And I never watched it. I don't know. It didn't. I think I watched the first episode of the third season. It didn't do anything for me, so I ended up stopped watching it. But that was during COVID too, and there was a lot of things I didn't end up watching when COVID was in because I was in a really bad emotional place. So there's a lot of things that if like it would just take like one scene, like one little thing in a show or a movie, and I would just like fuck this, and I turned it off and I'd go do something else. I did not. I just was not in a headspace where I like things that were reminding me of my current reality was not okay for me. So
that's understandable.
Anyway, so yeah, I do like we should watch that one. Yeah, we'll make tentatively we'll say that as unless something changes, like unless you guys come up with any better suggestions, I think that's good with me.
Okay, well let's do that in 2 weeks, and we can start True Detective Tuesday.
Sounds good. Weren't you going to stream earlier this afternoon? Weren't you going to stream at 3 or something like that? I think I sworn it said like there was a scheduled stream.
I didn't.
Yeah, no, I saw that you didn't. I just didn't know if like what happened.
I canceled it, and because I knew I'd be streaming tonight anyway. So
yeah, makes sense.
So because the movie was a big bust, if anybody wants to come on and talk about other topics, feel free.
Absolutely. I wish there was more to talk about the movie.
Huh?
Said I wish there was more to talk about with the movie. I wish
is usually our Friday night philosophy discussions that we used to do on Discord.
Okay. Well, we can do that.
Movie discussions.
My browser is acting up crazy. For some reason, Chrome does not play well with StreamYard, so I'm going to drop out, guys. I'm going to be back in just a second. I'm going to try Opera or something. Try a different browser, see if I can find something that actually works for this. Because like it's glitching out. The audio keeps glitching out. Even I can't hear myself at all. And anytime you guys are talking, it's like breaking up a lot. So I'll be back in a second. So
okay, you coming in fine on my end, but okay.
I just painted my nails black.
Oh, for is it because Halloween or just to do?
Yeah, just for spooky season.
Yeah.
And I did my toes too, but yeah. I was thinking about adding glitter, but I kind of just like this like vampire look with the black.
Do they have black glitter?
Maybe. I need to check into that. That would look cool. Like
hey Jeff,
black and silver. I thought you were saying hide yourself for a second.
The what?
I thought you were saying hi to yourself.
Oh no,
that's hi Jeff. I was like, oh.
It's the other Jeff.
Okay.
Trauma type.
Hey, Trauma type. I don't think I've met him before.
He has a channel on typology and astrology. We've done streams together before, and he drops on here now and then, which you're welcome to do tonight if you want. Is that better?
Yeah, no, I used Edge, the Microsoft browser. It seems to be working great though. It's smooth and everything. Nothing is lagging on me or breaking up. So
you have a handheld mic now, like Machine Lives?
Yeah, it's a Yeti. It's a Yeti I've had for a long time, but just the headset mic. I don't know. It sounded really distorted to me. So I don't know. It was driving me crazy. Plus, it shorts out all the time, so I can't even move
Well,
it.
welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
Here, I can.
Yeah. So trauma type is coming on maybe.
I don't know. He's in the comments. I don't know.
Yeah, I do think there were some interesting ideas sort of in that movie though. Just to finish like my thoughts of that, I do think there were some interesting ideas about the ideas of concept of audience capture, something like that. But I kind of feel like most of it was pretty obvious. It didn't seem like it had anything particularly deep to say. It was just kind of an observation about the way that people are with like YouTube and like trying to live stream their lives and stuff like that. You know, I feel like I don't know. I didn't think. I thought it was going to have something more to say than it really did. At the, ultimately, as we said, it didn't really go anywhere. The setups and the premises are all pretty interesting, but it didn't really do anything that interesting with the idea. The closest thing is probably kind of like it got to was probably like the dad from the other family, like pretending to be like the alien's wife thing. But it's really unclear to me like what that even meant. Like, were they getting money for that now, or because like
I think they were.
Tiffany Haddish's mom seemed to think that it was somehow they were still getting the money for it. So I didn't understand that part of it at all. It was very confusing. But yeah, that's what
I feel like we had to use our imagination for the whole movie, like just fill in the blanks throughout the whole. Like, it was like a choose your own adventure, but there was no adventure.
Yeah,
so I don't know what that was.
It's a true sign of a really bad movie whenever you have to make up your own story in your head to make it interesting, right? That's terrible.
Like I was like, are they?
It was definitely a Gen Z movie.
Well, see, like now the director's previous work, it was called Thoroughbreds, okay, and this movie was specifically about one of the main two. It was two girls in it, but the main character of the movie, the main girl, I think she's the actress. I can't remember. Anna Taylor-Joy, I think is her name. She was also in that chess movie that was popular during the pandemic and stuff. The chess TV show that was on Netflix.
The Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit, right? Yeah.
Oh,
that girl.
Is that who was in the movie tonight?
No, that was in the director's previous work, and the main character that was also a Gen Z character, but she specifically had this condition where she didn't feel emotion. So her whole performance and everything was very monotone, and like she just kind of stared at the. But it was intentional for the character because she had like a condition where she couldn't feel emotion. And the other characters were actually normal acting people. You know, I felt like that was supposed to be the thing in this movie, where the actors once again supposedly have some sort of autistic type condition where they didn't feel emotions or something like that, but it's not actually the case. So I think it's just interesting. Like he seems like the director has a thing for that sort of like an affect type thing. But he had a reason for it the first movie he did, but in this movie, he just did the same thing, but there's no reason for it. It's just like I have a hard time understanding directors or writers that do that sort of thing, performances where they want the actors to be wooden and cardboard and just like uninteresting.
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot. There's a lot of movies that do that. I don't understand why. Like, why would you want just because people are like that in real life doesn't mean that needs to be your movie. Movies are not real life. They're not documentaries. People don't need to talk like they talk in real life. They don't need to act like they act in real life. They should be interesting. Otherwise, why are we watching a movie about the character if they're not interesting? Because you can make a movie about any character of any kind. So, and that's something that adaptation, for example, adaptation makes a big point of that. You know, like there's like the one thing about it, like where he's like, you know, like the Charlie Kaufman as a character is like saying like, you know, what if I want to make a movie that doesn't have that where, you know, there are no real like big moments or something like that. Like the characters, like, you know, and like the Robert McKee characters, like every day something dramatic happens in this world. If you can't show me that shit in your movie, then why the fuck should I care? And that's how I feel. I mean, so you have an interesting world where obviously interesting things can happen. Yeah. So why should I watch your movie if your movie's about characters that don't do anything? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, show me the interesting characters in the world. Don't show me the most boring characters you can find. Why would you choose them as subjects? It doesn't make sense. It's just, it's not as, and I'm not someone who has like this, I don't have like a hard on for like, you know, I really hate it when there's certain critics out there that get really mad at movies that don't follow the structure they want for the movie. It's like, well, you set up things and you don't pay them off. And I don't necessarily think I just think it has to be interesting. I don't think it matters what structure you follow. I don't think it matters what.
No, I think it does, especially for me, because when you set expectations, my brain gets wired a certain way, and then if that doesn't get fulfilled, it sits there on my brain, and I notice it, and it's a very frustrating experience. That happened tonight with this movie.
But if you can do it, if you can like set up things and not pay them off, but still make it interesting and entertaining, I can forgive it. I do agree that if you set something up, you should pay it off. But I do think I've seen movies that didn't do that did the opposite type thing, that went the other direction and still made it interesting. And I could give at least a passing grade to those movies. But if you can't do it, and like you're only in the alternative to setting things and paying them off is just boring shit that no one cares about, then you've just wasted everyone's time. And that's what it comes down to. It was a waste. This movie is a waste of time. It's a waste of those actors' talents. Not the two lead ones that had no talent, but everybody else. It's a waste of all of their talents. And I felt bad for Tiffany Haddish in this movie, and I've never felt bad for her before in anything else. So, because she's been in a lot of shitty movies, she's been in a lot of shitty comedies there in the 2000s, man. Yeah. But I think she's actually a fairly entertaining comic. I think, or maybe it's not her that's the comic. Does she do stand up? I think she does. Doesn't she? Yeah. I want to say I've seen a stand up of hers that was really funny before. So I think she's talented. I've seen her good in many other things, but she really felt like she was wasted in this movie entirely.
Yeah. Especially for like a dramatic role, because I've never seen her in a dramatic role before like that. And it kind of just fell flat.
And it should have been funny. The whole thing with like the alien pretending to be the husband type thing, that should have been funny, and it wasn't.
It was so dull. It was
so dull. Yeah.
He wasn't even like an abuse. Like they tried going like the route of like he's an abusive husband, but he had like a monotone voice. Like he was like, "You're not leaving. My wife doesn't have a job." Like, yeah. There was like didn't even get angry. It was just like.
I mean, I think I kind of got what they were going for with the scene. Like they were trying not to make it too cartoonish, right? But if it's boring, then who cares?
Yeah.
And it was boring. It was dull. It had no teeth. The movie had no teeth.
No.
And that's something that really I think you need, like a satire like this, which is clearly trying to be a satire. It needs to be vicious. It needs teeth to it. It needs stakes too. There was no real stakes in the movie. Like the stakes is like what they get sued and then but that doesn't go anywhere. So because I was thinking that it was going to escalate, right? I was thinking they were going to get sued and they're going to keep trying to find ways to try to like pay the aliens back and everything. It was going to get into the stakes were going to get higher and higher, and like it was going to like be like like the aliens were threatening them or something like that. It was going to become like really like, because I see a really good progression point there. There's a really good way to escalate that story in a way that's really interesting. I feel like if I spent like 20 minutes thinking about it, I could probably figure out a better second half of the script there. But instead of just like, then his mom gets involved. It's just like it never takes off. The whole movie is what's that movie with Matthew McConaughey, Failure to Launch? There you go. That's what this is. It's a failure to launch. It's not a good movie. It's not worth watching. It's just like the concept, the title is just funny. Because that movie also never gets off the ground either, so it's very funny that movie has a title. So
yeah,
it was a big flop. I just like the concept, just failure to launch. Is just like what just what I think when I see movies like this. I mean, at least I think there was, and especially when there's something to launch. There's something that you can do with it, and it doesn't do it. That just makes me mad. Like, why you had a budget, you got to do the thing, you got to make the movie. Why'd you waste it? Stupid. Sorry, I'll stop ranting.
We'll see. Although ranting is allowed here.
I know.
Because I really have not much to say about it at all. So if you have all this other stuff to say, you might as well get it out.
I mean, yeah, it's frustrating for me because I as an aspiring filmmaker, someone who really tried to make it in that world at one point in my life, and I had a lot, there's a lot of projects I put a lot of passion, heart, and soul into that I think actually did have good scripts and everything. But I wrote some really decent stuff, and ended getting traction. But somebody can I'm guessing this movie probably had a budget of $5 million or so, maybe higher, with the special effects, which weren't even that bad. Some of them were intentionally kind of cheesy, I think, but like some of them weren't even that bad. And you get that kind of a script, that kind of a budget, and then you do nothing with it. It just makes me it hurts my soul a little bit. That's all. What else has been going on? I didn't even pay attention to the news today. I know Dianne Feinstein died.
Oh yeah, she did. She gone. She left up out of here.
I mean, I'm not sure she wasn't dead and doing a Weekend at Bernie's things for like the last 3 or 4 years, but I mean, at least they admitted that she was dead finally.
So what happens? Like California gets to replace her with,
I guess so,
someone else, whatever the process is.
Supposedly, the reason that she hadn't retired was because they were afraid that they thought she was somehow going to get replaced by someone who is going to be more sympathetic to Republicans or something like that. I don't know why. It's California, so like it's like a really, really blue state. But supposedly the reason that that she wasn't retiring was they were afraid that her seat was going to get somehow taken by Republican sympathetic parties, and therefore that's why they let her suffer, and that because she was clearly like mostly dead for a while now. We've been seeing the video for some time, so and she deteriorated pretty quickly.
What's going on with the government shutdown?
Last I heard, it's still probably happening, but I haven't heard any new news. The only way that
affect you,
possibly, I don't know that the government shutdown if it'll affect food stamps or not. I don't know because that's a state-funded program, so I don't know that. And I believe our WIC is also state-funded. So if the Texas government doesn't shut down, I don't think the federal government matters for it. It will affect if
SNAP was federal.
It's a federal
by the state.
It is administered by the state, but like it's administered by the state. I don't think the funding is all federal though. I think Texas like actually pays for most of it because I know in Nevada, for example, like when I lived there in Vegas, we had WIC and stuff like that, and it was all state funded. So, and I think Texas is too, but I could be wrong about that. I don't know. Because not all states have as good of food benefits. I know that we do in Texas. Like some states you can't get nearly as much as we get per month. So I don't know. I think it's at least partially funded by the government, by the federal government, but I think it's partially funded by the state too. So, but I don't know. The only thing it could affect really right now, the shutdown, which I'm sure, but more than likely, what's going to happen with the shutdown is it's going to get shut down for like 1 or 2 days at most, or like every time they get close to the shutdown thing, they always do some last minute midnight vote type thing where like they just keep it under the wire. It's like they do this like it reminds me of like the joke in Galaxy Quest about how like the timer on the ship, it always goes down to like the last second, like it's like it doesn't matter how quickly you fix the problem, the self-destruct timer always goes down to 1 second. It doesn't matter like how good they try to work things out, they'll always hold it to the last possible moment. So I don't know.
Is it budget? Is that what they're fighting over?
I think budget, like usual, and there's some people trying to get them to drop some of the stuff against Trump or something like that. I heard at one point, but I don't know if that's still true or not. At one point, there were some Congress or senators or something like that was congressmen or senators or someone that were trying to like get them to like stop prosecuting Trump or something. At one point, that was weeks back. I haven't heard anything about it since, and I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with news as much the last few days. I've just kind of gotten sick of it. It's been the same shit over and over and over again, and it's just like it seems like nothing ever changes. So,
kind of hate watching the news because like all so depressing and just like drama and I'm like sensational media. Just like no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Which is terrible because you need to be like updated and stuff. But I hate the news. I just do.
I mean, I don't even get my news through any traditional sources. I don't watch any cable news or anything like that. I mean, but even the sources I usually get it through, I usually watch like The Hills Rising or like the Breaking Points guys or something like that. And they've all been really shitty lately anyway. They used to be a lot more centrist than they are lately. So I don't know.
I think I hate the news because my grandparents have it on like 24/7. They like
do.
love watching it. I'm just like, whenever I'm there, I'm like, oh my god, can we watch anything else?
My parents have on Fox 24/7, so yeah.
Yeah, so you get it.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I'm not there that often, but when I'm there, it's Fox News. It's on all the time. If my mom's in control of the television, like she'll switch to channels that have like Star Trek reruns on or something like that. It's like Star Trek or Fox News though. So
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Fox News isn't any worse than any of the rest of it. It's not like it's not like Fox is so terrible. It's not any worse than CNN or anything. It's just different than CNN, but it's all the same. Just like Alex Jones / Bill Hicks used to say back in the day, puppet on the right or puppet on the left.
Yeah.
You know, it really doesn't matter what side of things you're on, because it's like the same person's controlling the right and left. It really feels like that. Like they're faking most of this shit half the time. I swear, like I try not to be conspiracy minded, but like it really feels that way sometimes.
To say
well, it feels that way.
Does seem conspiracy minded.
It does.
Like there's people in a
it
room
is.
coordinating, saying, "Hey, put this on Fox and put this on CNN," but it's the same people.
I'm not saying that happens. I'm saying it feels like that happens. I'm not saying that it's literally true. I'm saying that that's how it feels because of how staged it all feels a lot of times. A lot of times, like
It just feels like there's at least two different groups in America that are living in completely different psychological realities that see events through their own particular filter, and they each have their own network. So Fox puts out its version of reality, and CNN puts out its version of reality.
I know, and it's all but they feel coordinated because of like how perfectly opposed they are. I'm not saying that it is. I don't believe that they are. I don't believe that there actually is anyone coordinating. It just feels too perfectly opposed at the time. It's like because it seems like every now and then, even both of those realities would more or less agree on something every now and then. The fact that they're so like perfectly on the opposite sides of things all the time, it just feels like staged at a certain point. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying it feels
like how much of an illusion that perfection is, and if you look closely enough, it's not as symmetrical as it appears, and you could find areas of overlap.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm sure.
I think if you just do like a quick glance from a distance, it could look like both sides, but to me that's a very superficial read on it.
No, and that's fair. I mean, I'm not making any claim about the actual reality of. I'm not making any claim about the actual reality of the situation. I'm saying that it just, whenever I watch that stuff, I try to like watch as much of both sides type stuff as I can, try to get a balanced viewpoint on things. And it just feels like it just feels staged. I'm not saying that it is staged. I'm saying it feels that way. Just like sometimes life feels like a simulation. I don't really think it is a simulation. I don't think we're living in a computer hologram simulation type thing. But sometimes things happen in life that just feel like that's too perfect for it to be real. You know, I mean, I'm not really making a comment on the actual reality of things. I'm just saying like it's tiring sometimes how things feel that way. That's all.
I don't know. I haven't watched TV news in decades.
I mean, I don't really either. I mean,
I never did really watch it.
These days, it's more like I see things from like I said, like I watch like Rising, Breaking Points every now and then. I watch the Young Turks or watch like commentary channels. Occasionally, I watch a clip or two. I don't watch like the whole show, but I'll watch a clip or here and there, depending on what they're talking about. I even watch I watch clips of stuff that I don't agree with, and I actually actively hate a lot of times because I want to know what the other side. What either side is actually saying. Like I watch shit like the Majority Report sometimes, and it makes me angry. I mean, it makes me really angry to watch Sam Cedar spout his bullshit, but I still like want to know like what kind of bullshit he's spouting.
Here,
no, I saw that. Yeah,
you saw it.
I saw it right before the movie started. I saw that clip. Yeah, it's funny.
I don't know who Sam Cedar. I don't like him, but. Yeah, Rowan called in to Sam Cedar's show with an AI imitating Sam Cedar, and it was Sam Cedar from the future explaining how he's going to become a libertarian and here's why. And it was all in Sam's voice to Sam on his show.
No, it was a great prank. I mean, I'm not really the biggest prank phone call guy in the world, but this was very special. I want to watch it again. Actually, I haven't watched it.
We can watch it here.
Yeah, let's watch it here because like I like to
'Cause
watch
I don't
it 'cause
think I don't think Rowan would mind. I don't think
think
he
he would
would
either.
copyright strike.
I watched it right before the movie, right before my computer crashed and everything like that, and I was trying to get everything like running, so I didn't really get a chance to absorb it. So like, yeah, we should watch it on the stream.
Okay, this is our friend Rowan calling into Sam Cedar show.
All right. What could very well be the final
Oh
call
wait,
of the
it's
day?
not playing. Can y'all hear it?
I
Call
can
from
hear it.
17 area
I can hear
code.
it. I
Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Why?
Doing that thing to you again? That's crazy.
Hang on. Why isn't it playing?
Did this to you the other day too, right?
Yeah, it did.
Weird. You know, I saw the rest of the stream from the other day, like when we were talking about like your copyright strike, and like I was thinking like that it very well may be that video background you used. That the strike was.
Oh,
about.
by the way, I clipped it. I took the part out that they said, and they reposted it.
I saw
But
it.
nothing's actually taken out. The song is still there, and the video is still there. So everything that they complained about, that they flagged as copyright, that they supposedly stripped out. When I went back and watched the new version, it's all still in there.
Okay, I didn't click on it. I just saw that it was back up. So I was like, cool. So at least like trimming that out.
Why
worked,
is this damn thing not playing? God damn it!
Yeah, because I can hear it
What-
fine.
What would cause it not to play on my end?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, man. I don't know. It's probably some of your audio settings, I guess, but I don't remember how you fixed it the other day. I mean,
Nothing on YouTube is playing. I mean, I can't hear any. It's playing, but I don't get volume.
But we hear it, which is weird.
But you hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, as soon as I figure this out, I'll play it.
No problem. Yeah, take your time, man.
I can't for the life of me imagine.
Were you aware of the copyright strike, quote unquote, drama the other day? Emerald?
No.
I got
What
it. It
happened?
wasn't a strike, but it was a claim.
Oh, it's a claim. Yeah,
Um,
claim.
Oh.
Some like South Indian music company said I was using copyright stuff on their channel, and the only thing I had some free video like wallpaper I downloaded, and then Chris's song that he made that I played along with the wallpaper. So it was either the Chris's music,
Or the
which they're
wallpaper.
trying to claim copyright on, or it's this video wallpaper, which they left up.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh.
whenever you mentioned the wallpaper thing, like that's the reason why it clicked because like that I talked about, like I can't remember the YouTuber now, but I watched this whole like YouTuber's like whole saga with trying to like deal with copyright claims like that. And that's actually what turned out to be like his thing wasn't even music or anything, but like a music company claimed like an image, and it was also a Hindi company. It was a Hindi speaking like an Indian company claimed like an image that was like a stock image that they did not own, but they used it one of their things, so they claimed it as copyright strike. It was like a bot that did it, obviously. But when he challenged it, they backed right down. But yeah, with the fact that it was using my music over it, I thought like, well, maybe I made something that sounded like one of their things or something. So I didn't want to I didn't want to encourage him to fight it if I couldn't be for certain that I hadn't actually made something that sounded a lot like something they made or something. I mean, I have no idea. It's like there's an infinite.
Okay, I think I fixed it.
Okay, cool. Let's watch it.
All right, this is hang on, let me Wait, y'all say something? I don't know if I can hear you now.
I muted my mic for a second while it was.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right,
I'm
I
here.
think I got it fixed. Okay, this is Rowan calling into Sam Cedar.
What could very well be the final call of the day? Calling from an 817 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Sam. This is you from the future. And I know this is probably weird, but in the year 2028, you, or rather, myself, will convert to libertarianism. And I wanted to save you the years and all the time and the trouble that it's going to take you to be swayed into being a libertarian and just give you the arguments right now that convinced me, and so I know that they will convince you.
Is Sam going to put a copyright on me?
So, basically, under libertarianism, it would essentially transform into feudalism, into this system where you have private courts settling property disputes and thousands of essentially little fiefdoms, battling it out, and whoever has the biggest army will win, because it's all just a bunch of unaccountable mini, governments, essentially. And I spent a lot of years arguing against libertarians on this point until one day, I woke up and I realized something. I woke up and I realized that sounds fucking awesome, because I, as a property owner, would be one of the feudal lords who would have a private army, and I can just swing my big dick around, and I can, I can do it. So that is what has led me to accept the gloriousness, the glory of the non-aggression principle. And Ayn Rand is now my personal favorite philosopher. Now, whenever there's somebody who, is going to knock on someone's door and say, "This is mine now. Bye-bye," that's me. I am the one who knocks. Okay? So just want to let you know, Sam.
Sam, I want to say thank you. Whoever the caller is, you've got to email us and tell us if that was like AI or if you.
I know the
actually
program that must have been. I think actually.
That was awesome. Thank you for that call.
Damn it, Sam! Nobody has all the answers on how freedom works.
That's amazing. I appreciate the call.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great prank call. Like I said, I don't really usually consider prank calls to be a very high form of comedy, but Rowan really outdid himself with that one. I give him absolute all credit in the world for that. It's great.
We used to do prank calls when we were kids for fun. We used to see how long we'd pick names out of the phone book and see how long we could keep somebody on the phone. It was like a game we made up. And we would use the "Is my mama there?" thing. And we were a little kid, and we'd call a phone number and we'd say, "Is my mama there?" And then the thing was that our mom had gone to a party or something, and she left this phone number to call in case we needed her. So we would use that, and then they would like stay on the phone and try to help us figure out where our mom was and everything. And it stopped one day when we were playing "Is my mama there?" And we got this old black lady. Her name was Maybelle. And we said, "Is my mama there?" She said, "No, baby. Ain't nobody mama here. I just got back from my best friend's funeral."
Oh, God.
And we were so, we felt like shit. We were on the phone with her for like 15 or 20 minutes. We were consoling her, telling her how much we love her. We were passing the phone around because we played it. We were just one person, but we have like a little group of friends around the phone. And then we gave her our phone number to call. Like that was like peer support. That was like my first time doing phone peer support as part of this prank phone call game. And I'm like, I can't do this game anymore after that call.
That's like, it's kind of awesome because on one hand, like it kind of started your career in peer support, but on the other hand, that's the worst possible outcome for a prank call, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, like them getting angry at you, them screaming, that's all fine. But someone like
I
really,
didn't make it. It was my sister and her friend. They made up the game. I would never come up with something that mischievous.
Right. I had some friends that did a couple of prank calls, like when I was around them, maybe when I was younger, but it was never something I ever got into. But I mean, I've seen crank yankers and stuff like that. Some of those are kind of funny, I guess, but a lot of it's just kind of like, I don't know. It doesn't really make me laugh that much. But that Sam Cedar thing, that's pretty good. Good stuff.
Yeah, now with AI, just think of all the prank calling.
But that's a really clever use of it. I've seen a lot of people do stuff like that wasn't that clever. Like having, Sam Cedar calling himself in the future about like that, the whole, and the script that he wrote for it, or if he wrote a script, I guess he used a script. It's really good. I mean, it's really, I can't believe Sam let it go on that long either.
That's probably the most Sam Cedar I've ever watched in my life.
You're a lucky man. most of Sam Cedar's content is just painful. Although he isn't as bad as the girl that co-hosts with him. She's the one that I actually hate.
Who's the co-host?
What's her name? She was that one that went on Tim Pool's show a while back and like had that. Really,
the one everybody hates. Fuck, what's her name?
Yeah,
I want to say Aaron Brockovich. That's
it's something Vigland. Something Vigland.
Emma Vigland.
Emma Vigland. There you go. Yeah, I hate her so much. She's got this. I've never seen a woman that had a punchable face before. Okay. I've seen many men that have punchable faces, like her face. She makes me so angry. Like I would never want to get into the same room with her because she makes me feel violent, and I don't feel violent at anybody. But she has like this smugness that just makes me so freaking like. I mean, it's not like this is not a thing about being mad at women or something like that. I like women better than men in general. I just that specific her face, the way she just likes this look of like this smug superiority she has in every single thing I've ever seen her on makes me. And plus, then she tries to, and then she instead of like owning up to that, it's just this mousy like, oh, I'm sorry, did I make you mad? Oh God, I fucking hate that shit. She just pisses me off. She's like one of the few people in media that actually makes me blood boil. So.
I've never had the urge to punch somebody.
I very rarely have. I'm saying that someone has a punchable face doesn't mean I actually usually want to punch them. It just it's like her degree of smugness. It just seems like, oh no, man. I would never actually do it.
I watched that one video everybody was complaining about, and I prepared to hate it more than I actually did because everybody was saying how awful she was. And when I watched it, I'm like, this is not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
She's an infuriating person, and I don't even like Tim Pool that much.
Maybe it's because I live up here in Seattle, but all the women up here act like that.
Is that
like
that's the way they all
I've been
act?
around that type of woman for the last 15 years.
How could you?
She just seemed like an ordinary Washington State liberal.
Yeah, I would have. I had to move from that shit. I could not live there.
I want to move. I'm miserable here. They run the entire culture.
Well, you looked up that stuff for the peer counseling thing in Texas the other day. Maybe you should call that number and see if there's since you already have you're certified there in Washington State, you should see if there's anything down here in Texas.
Oh yeah, just get my license transferred. Well, actually now with my practice, I can pretty much work anywhere. What did you call? Did they end up getting back with you?
I had to call and leave a message. I sent in the form thing. I mean, I kind of figured. I realized after we talked that it was Friday that I was doing this on, so it's probably. I sent the contact me form thing last night, and I tried to call today once, but it went to some sort of automated thing. It was basically just a voicemail. I left a message. They haven't called me back yet, but I'll probably hear from them on Monday, I would guess, if I'm going to hear from them. So,
okay.
Yeah, I either that or I'll get an email or something like that over the weekend. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. It's anything could happen. Since I'm someone who has zero experience, and they're probably not just itching to to respond to me exactly. So
you don't have zero experience. You have your own experience, and then you have everything you went through with your wife.
Sure, yeah, I know, but I mean, I'm talking about on paper, though. I don't have on paper experience. I mean, I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Nobody. The ones starting out don't. All they care about is your lived experience.
Okay. Well,
very few peers start out with on paper experience.
Yeah, maybe it'll work out then. I'm trying not to be, but I do tend to have a pessimistic outlook towards job type things. I haven't had a good experience with trying to find a job in 2 years now. So, I'm a little beaten down that one. So yeah, it just gets a little I guess I tend to have I try really hard to stay positive and have positive outlook, but it's hard for me. I'm not a naturally positive person. It's something I have to work at. I think I used to be a naturally positive person, but it's been difficult to be that way more and more.
I mean, you're not the most negative person I've encountered by far. You're pretty upbeat, at least around me.
I mean, I try. I try to be. I try. I don't know. I don't. I mean, that is. It's not like I have like a. I'm not performing or anything. I just in general throughout my day in life, I try to maintain a positive outlook as best I can because I don't see any advantage in having a negative outlook. It doesn't benefit anyone to have a negative outlook. But it could still be. You still feel beaten down at times, and it just kind of your thoughts drift that way. I have a depressive. I tend to be depressive though, and I haven't had my antidepressants in like 2 years, so it can be tough. It can be tough, to do that sometimes. But I mean, whenever I was on all my antidepressant stuff, whenever my antidepressants were working, the only one they ever worked for me was this one called venlafaxine, and whenever I was taking it. And I got it balanced out and regulated. I used to be pretty upbeat then, but yeah.
Well, you seem upbeat now. I'd hate to
Yeah.
see you on them. You're one of the most upbeat depressives I've met.
I always feel good. I always feel good whenever I'm having a conversation though. That is my best drug that I've ever had is conversation makes me feel better than anything else does. Not having anyone to speak to is like the worst thing I can have in my life.
I didn't know that was a thing until I moved up here because growing up, I had tons of friends. I was the person like everybody would call when they needed someone to talk, and I had a ton of friends. I got a whole phone and in-person network. Everybody did. So I've never met people that didn't have that till I moved up here.
Yeah.
So I've had friends my whole life that I could call when I needed that kind of support. So I never had to go to a therapist. I never had to use mental health services.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. I had a really good group of friends growing up and even in Texarkana, and I usually had like a small community around me just about everywhere. I didn't have that kind of sense of isolation until the follow-up from COVID and everything happened. Like that, I've been through like 3 different periods of my life where I was really isolated. Once when I first moved to Vegas, and I was house sitting for the director there. Yeah, well, he went to Brazil, and I was house sitting in this house for like 9 months or so before I met my wife, and we met through MySpace back then. And then I had a friend again, but like when we first started dating. But that went up to that point, I just had no one around, and so I was really, really, truly isolated. I didn't know anyone in the whole city, and we were living on the outskirts of Vegas too. And like I was just me in the house by myself, and it was this huge house too. It was crazy. And then I had another period in Texarkana. It was like that a little bit, but it wasn't nearly as isolating because it was still being Lindsay, and our relationship was fine. But then whenever everything happened, like the last couple of years, then I lost like the ability to like. I feel like it was long enough where I didn't even know how to talk to people for a while. It was. Yeah, it was weird. Like the first conversation we had on stream and stuff like that. That was tough for me at that time. At the time, it was really hard for me to like even like make myself talk, even though I rambled a lot. But that was because I was forcing myself to speak because there was a part of me that just want to shrivel up and just like go hide.
Well, none of that came through.
That's good. And I mean, yeah, for whenever I remember watching back part of it just to see how because I was afraid I was really cringy, and I watched like 10 minutes of it or so, and I was like, okay, I didn't completely embarrass myself, and I stopped watching after that. I'm one of those people that like I really hate the sound of my own voice, and I really don't like the way like I can handle seeing myself on stream right now. But anytime I ever click on one of those streams that are posted, and I see myself for a second, I get like super like I shrink. I just get very small.
Don't watch yourself back.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Unless like I sometimes I'll go back to the streams like I'm trying to remember something we said or talked about, And I go back to try to find like that one thing that like you said or somebody else said, and it's just like I always have this like this ultra cringe feeling, Like, anyway,
I'm too much of an extrovert to stay lonely. I think I always end up finding people somehow. I even did that during COVID. I discovered Zoom and started finding online people. There was no way I could have been locked down by myself without some kind of social outlet.
you can just like find people on Zoom.
Yeah.
Discord. I definitely know you can, but I didn't know Zoom had that kind of social.
Well, I took I don't know if you know who Jane Sibrey is. She's a musical artist from Canada, about the same time as Kate Bush and Laurie Anderson. And
Cool.
I took a songwriting workshop with her, and you had to download Zoom to take the class. And I didn't even know what Zoom was. I never heard of it. And then people kept saying it was Chinese spyware. And I was scared to have it on my computer. I said, I don't want this. But it was Jane Sibley. I'm like, fuck, it's Jane. I'm going to take the risk because this opportunity was too good to pass up. And then in that class, I met all these other people that they were like artists and musicians and creative people. And so we kept Zooming after the class was over. And we had like a little support creative network going. And then we took other classes. So I started taking all these classes and workshops during Zoom. And that's where I would meet people from. So I'd find activities and events to go to. Some of them were free, some of them you had to pay for. And then I also discovered Discord, and I found a bunch of Satanists I was hanging out with for a while until I discovered they were all woke.
You know what
And
watched
I didn't know what wokeness was at first, but when I realized what wokeness was, I recognized that they were that.
Right. Yeah. No, I see what you mean though. Totally. I just suddenly thought about something though. Last night I watched because through your channel on there, I didn't know Anton had a channel, and I saw his channel. I subscribed to it, and I watched the video that he made, like the second to the last video on his channel, and like I always liked Anton. I always thought Anton was really cool, but man, that video gave me a whole new respect for him. Like that video is truly. If you haven't seen that video, I definitely
the one about 9/11.
No, the one before that. It's about apparently a social media post that he made back during COVID that like it lost him a whole bunch of friends and stuff like that. I think you would relate to it too, because it sounds like you kind of went through some similar things with like, some of those.
Yeah, I do remember it, but let me pull it up and see.
It's such a good story. It's such a good story.
Yeah, Anton, I very much relate to Anton.
Yeah, Anton's great.
We didn't do our Jung thing this week. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, they said they were going to skip it this week, right? I know, like
they did.
the Discord's been pretty quiet.
I thought it was every 2 weeks, but I don't know. Who knows? It's everything's in flux.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but the Discord's been Paul's Discord's been quiet here lately, so I haven't really seen much from anybody.
I keep trying to liven it up and offer things to do. There's some good conversations that are happening, but he hasn't streamed in a while either. He will be streaming this Saturday.
That's cool. Yeah, we should definitely reach out to him some more. I'd like to talk to him some more on stream or something like that. He's got. I know like, at one point we talked about doing a stream talking about James Lindsay with him, and we never got around to doing that. So we should try to do that. I need to actually watch the rest of the James Lindsay stuff though, so I actually have a more thorough like understanding. But it's just that everything James Lindsay does is so long though. It's just like it would take me I feel like it would take me a week to watch enough James Lindsay stuff to actually have much of a base level to talk about and stuff with. He's got so much stuff on the internet and it's all really long. Peterson too. Like I started watching the Exodus series when he started it because like Paul started doing a thing about it, and so I watched the first one, but then I missed the second one, and then by that time the third one had come out, and I felt like they're like 3 or 4 hours long, and I felt like I couldn't catch up with it.
I can't make
it's
it. That's too many like boring old white guys sitting around talking.
I've seen some
Peterson being one of them.
Yeah, I've seen some clips from it, some like individual clips from those things where like there's some really interesting discussions happening, but yeah, it's too much.
It was like PBS NewsHour, but boring.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, it's so there's some interesting conversations happening in those streams and stuff like that, but it's just too much to think. I think, but. I have a lot of trouble with a lot of those things, like Stitch and Adam. Like I like them too, but like every stream they do is 12 hours long. I'm just like, well, I'm never going to watch that. So if they don't have any good, if they don't put any good like clips of, I'm just not gonna. I'm not gonna go and try to participate in a 12-hour stream. That's insane. I would have no idea what the context of what's happening. Like our streams, like when our streams get to like 2 or 3 hours, I start feeling like, man, like that's I'm happy when people like participate in them at all, because I feel like it's already long enough. But damn, like, and then I feel like Paul's streams are too short, so I don't know. I feel like the stream length that we tend to do here whenever you do streams, I feel like it's about the right length in my opinion. 2 or 3 hours.
I do want to do some marathon streams eventually when I have the guest.
If there's good reasons for it, I mean, I feel like you got to have something to sustain it, though, right? Don't you have to some theme or idea or something behind it? I like marathon streams in theory, but I've never participated in one, so I don't know.
Machine Lies he does them on Saturday nights. He'll start like at 5 in the afternoon, and I'll go to bed like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I'll wake up at 8 or 9. He's still going. Like he goes all through the night into the morning. His last one was 14 hours. And
Like, I
StreamYard
respect
cuts
it.
you off after 10. I think you have to restart it.
I respect it. Like, people can do it, but man, I feel like it's. I don't know. I always feel like there's, if it's a really good stream, I'd want to see the whole thing, but I can't. I just can't commit that kind of time to it. I guess if I was doing something at a job or something like that, where we used to work in the warehouse for Amazon, I used to do like stuff where I could just have like a Bluetooth in and I'd listen to podcasts like all night long. I did like 12-hour shifts there. I could maybe do it in that kind of situation. But like in general, like I don't have the attention span for it. Like if it's something that's a part of the background, I can totally deal with it. But I can't just pay attention to a stream for 12 hours. I can't, unless I'm participating in it anyway. I have a problem though, like where I'm better at creating content than I am at. There's part of my brain is much more interested in creating content than it is consuming it. So I can get bored of things really easily sometimes if I'm not careful. I got bored of that movie. I had to force myself to keep taking attention to it towards like the end of it. As soon as I
not to cut you off, but I was painting my nails, like cleaning my room. I was like listening to like. I'm like very energetic naturally, so I just start doing things. I don't know if I have ADHD or something, but I constantly want to create and do things.
Well, I definitely have ADHD, so you might. I don't know. I couldn't diagnose you, but
I don't know. But yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you didn't cut me off. No,
okay.
Please.
No, you can cut him off. You cut him off anytime you want.
Thank you. Absolutely. I agree with the statement.
He gets more airtime than anybody on the show.
Anybody else? I was thinking today. I started to feel bad about even coming on Jeff's streams. I feel like I feel like I take up way too much of his airtime. So.
Well, I mean, it's not like anybody else is coming on, but so
yeah.
you're kind of my co-hostess now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about doing a podcast together anyway, so we might as well, right? But yeah. I mean, if anybody ever needs, if I'm ever on a stream, just either if you need me to stop talking, just tell me to shut up. I will. I will. Okay.
I like to. I'm a listener. I'm
a listener.
I'll let people go on for hours.
Yeah.
But when I need to jump in, I do.
But you said like when we had that panel that we had like 6 or 7 people on, we had like I didn't talk that much on that stream. I thought that I know I have the capability of shutting up and listening, so I know I can do it. So. I think I have that thing where like I get uncomfortable with silence.
Oh yeah.
So my brain's like, oh shit, it's silent. I gotta say something.
Oh, yeah, not me. Sometimes if you let the silence be, that's when the interesting stuff starts to come out.
That's a very good point. I agree.
I used to have that in like first dates where I'd like fill up the silence with jokes and humor and like talking nonstop. And then at the end of it, I'd be like, I don't know anything about the other person. Like, why was I talking nonstop? Like, what?
Was
it's
it
hard to balance.
You get that people fill up silence out of nerves?
Yeah, I would get nervous. Like, it would fill me with a sense of dread where I'm like, oh my God, like, what's about to happen? So I just start saying stuff.
And why isn't the other person talking? Like, why is there silence? Because the other person's contributing to it too.
I guess it's natural, but my brain doesn't understand that. So it's like, I've had to like teach myself to be okay with it. I just think it's like a negative thing, I guess. A negative connotation with silence.
Because it feels like if the other person isn't talking, it feels like it's probably because they're not interested or something like that. So I keep trying to say things to try to spark the other person to speak, right? So I'm trying to stimulate conversation, but then when no one's saying anything, I feel like well, okay, just keep going. Then I don't know. It's like a bad recursive cycle.
I just identify it like, oh, things got quiet, or oh, why are you so quiet? And then that gives them the opportunity to explain it or fill it with something.
The truth is that generally speaking, if it's silent and I'm not jumping in to say something, it's probably because I'm making myself be silent. So because I feel like I've been taking, it's like if I let myself, my brain will never let any silence happen. It's just like my brain is like that. My brain never stops going. So it's always
Mine is like
just
that, like
going like the
racing
whole time.
thoughts
Yeah, exactly. I have racing thoughts.
and like dialogue with myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and there's some people in the world that don't have that. They just do things.
I know
Like
that's
that
so weird to me. So
pops
weird.
in their head and they're like they see a vacuum, they're like, okay, that means clean your room. My brain's like, oh, vacuum means this. Oh, now let's go Google penguins in Antarctica. Like, my brain.
I relate to you so incredibly hard on that. Okay,
Yeah.
I completely relate to everything you just said. Yes, I endorse that fully. That is entirely what
Like
my
my
brain does.
laptop is just full of tabs, just like my brain. Just every tab is open, and you're closing them in new tabs.
Right now, because we're streaming, it's the only thing that's caused me. Normally, I'd have like a browser tab open that would have like just be filled with nothing, like those tiny little tab things, the smallest ones where you can't even see what they say. You just see like the
Yeah.
dot, you know. Yeah, that's what my browser usually. But because I'm streaming, if I don't, then the computer will stop working. So I close it out. So that's how
Oh.
much I like. That's how much I like conversations with people like Jeff and yourself. Is that I'm willing to shut down my my messy browser window.
I love
Or
that.
the-
Because my laptop will
That's
start
awesome.
overheating.
Mhm.
Like,
Yes, it
they'll
will.
just
It
shut
will.
down. I'm like, oh my god. And then my phone has like 500 tabs open. I just keep opening apps and closing them, and they're just all open.
Dang. Literal 500.
Yeah, like on my Google, on my phone. Let's see what it's at right now.
How do you navigate that?
You don't. You just keep opening new ones, and you just
383 tabs right now.
Mine doesn't
I don't
even
know
have
if
a
you can see
number.
it.
Mine doesn't have a number. I don't know if you can see it up here or not. It just has a little like smiley face with the D. You know, it has like the little like it's just like a smiley face. Like, yeah, you got too many tabs. Like, don't know how many you have. It does not actually tell me a number. It
And then your phone overheats.
That's probably why it happens. Yeah, that's totally
Jeff,
right.
if I die in a house fire, you know the reason why. Please tell them at my funeral. Please let them know.
And then I have tabs that have sub-tab groups to them, where like when you're scrolling through the list of tabs,
Yeah.
it just has little ones that say like this one has like 38 tabs in it, and like it's just there. And I think I created that tab group for a reason, but I don't remember why. So you know, it's
I relate
Man,
to
those
that.
birds.
was that
I go down rabbit holes too, but then I close them out afterwards.
I don't.
Because
I keep them
can only
open.
have like a few tabs open at any given time.
I'll be like, what if I need this very specific niche knowledge at some point in my
But you
life?
can go back. If you close a tab, you just go to your history and reopen it. I do that all the time.
Yeah, sometimes you can't always find things in your history, and then that
Yeah.
traumatizes you. So you end up with this trauma response where
Yeah.
you keep the tabs open forever. Or then you try bookmarking, but then your bookmarks get so out of hand that you
You
never
can
find
also
anything in
do
those
Reader.
bookmarks.
You can put them in Reader. I found out. I do that too.
In Reader? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. Well, Chrome has a Reader.
That's
just
nice.
word knowledge.
It probably wouldn't work on my phone or computer because I have too many tabs.
Same.
Yeah, once I'm through with a tab, I close it out, and I can always. In fact, that's my frustration: is I close out tabs sooner than I should, and I'm constantly having to reopen them because I think I'm through with them and I'm not. So I have to keep reopening them. But I just go to my history and pull them up. Or another thing I do is I remember the words out of the. I'm constantly memorizing snippets of URLs, and then I'll type part of it in the search bar, and it'll pull up the tab.
Well, it sounds very privileged of you, Jeff.
My-
I'm joking, dude. I'm joking. I'm just joking about it. It just you know, like people like say like, you know, it sounds like a white privilege type thing, you know. It just feels like you're very privileged in the way that you can just close tabs like that. Like
Yeah.
us lower types that we can't do that. we
Well,
have to
it's
hoard our
all-
tabs or
Yeah.
None of that seems weird to me, but that's probably all our neurodivergence for each of us. The fact, like the having 500 tabs.
it totally is.
It has to
and
be.
the thing I do of the reopening. None of it's probably neurotypical. So if anything, it's neurodivergent privilege.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere in the middle of those two extremes, there's probably what the normal people have. Well, the normal people have like 8 to 10 tabs open at
Yeah.
all times or something like that. it's just that life just isn't meant for us.
Bothers me.
That's what
Actually,
people tell me. They're
I
like,
have to have the minimum amount of tabs possible. It bothers me if I have one extraneous tab open. I like to have as little open as possible.
See, my thing is like if I can get things to a minimalist state like that, I think it's great, and I try to maintain it. But something happens and it breaks that minimalist state,
yeah.
and as soon as the minimalist state has been broken, then the floodgates open, and
Yeah.
it's just tabs forever. It's
That
just a
happens to me all the
flood of-
time. I'd be like, I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna
Mhm.
restrict myself. Then all of a sudden, I have 500 tabs because
I'm
I've
gonna
fallen down 500 rabbit holes.
I'm gonna keep up my email. I'm not gonna have like
Yeah.
3,000 unread emails. I'm gonna take care of all this stuff, and you do it. You get it all cleaned up. You do the spring cleaning thing, and I do this in my house too. And it's all great for like 2 weeks. Like I mentioned this the other day when we were on stream. I was saying like sometime in the near future I'm gonna shave my beard and get my hair and everything all back in order and stuff like that. And I'll maintain that for like 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and then I'll miss one day. And then it's all over. Then I end up with a beard again. So I mean, it's just like it seems like once you, that's how I feel like with all those. The same thing I was talking about. It's the same mental thing with the streams and everything like that. It's like I feel like I try to keep up with this thing, but then like you miss one, it's just like, well, I'll never get caught up now. So might as well just let it all go.
Yeah.
So and your head, like how you frame it to yourself, and
I completely agree.
the story you
Yeah.
tell yourself about it.
Completely agree. It doesn't necessarily change it, but I completely agree with what you're saying, though. I think you're completely right,
Yeah.
and
Like
yeah, that's
you
it.
said.
And the
I mean,
story.
I try to change it regularly, and I maintain it for a couple of weeks, and it
Well,
goes back
that
to where
also
it is.
you have that's your pattern though. Like we all have our individual. I didn't plan my pattern. I just kind of discovered it and fell into it, and it's hard for me to not do my pattern either.
Yeah.
I need your pattern.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds nice.
Jeff,
but, you know.
teach us. Your
I just don't like
ways.
clutter. I don't like intellectual clutter. When I'm following rabbit holes,
Oh,
like
I
to
love
keep
clutter.
it
That's the
there.
problem right there.
I'm comfortable with clutter. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
I'm very
I'm
good at
comfortable with
pruning
clutter.
tasks that are not necessary. Like, oh, I've got what I need from this one. I can get rid of it.
Because like I'm really comfortable when everything's really clean and minimalist. That's
Yeah.
really good. But if it's cluttered at all, I think there's part of my brain that would rather it be really cluttered.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to deal with it because it's impossible to deal with. I'll never deal with that. So I mean, that's the way my brain I think works. Like it doesn't work.
It's just like happy chaos is our
Yeah.
Hey,
normal.
Cascadian. I watched
Hey,
your
man.
stream earlier today, or I watched about half of it. It was really good. I'm gonna go back and finish it. He did a live stream today.
Okay.
That was
Thank
good.
you for the like.
Yeah, definitely. And it was sorry we both bailed on that race debate thing. I think me and Jeff both bailed for the same reason though, from what I can tell. from
Well,
what
I
talked
was
to Jeff
killing
about it.
time until it was Survivor was almost coming anyway. I was gonna have
was
to
it?
leave about 10 minutes anyway. Yeah, I was just killing time until the premiere.
I thought that was late at night. Was it late that night?
8 o'clock my time,
Oh,
7
wow.
Central. Maybe.
I thought that was like midnight when we went to that other stream. I guess I was completely unaware of what the time it was.
Oh well, for me it was just before 8, so for you it would have been 10, just like 9,
Right.
9 something.
I ever since the COVID thing, ever since the Vertigo, I never used to have this problem, but I have really bad with keeping track of time. Ever since with this brain fog type thing, I lose track of time all the time, like in really bad ways. That used to be one thing I was actually pretty good at. I was always punctual. And I certainly had some ADHD issues, but I learned to deal with them and learn to adjust. And of course, once again, not having my medication stuff like that certainly contributes to that. But I swear to God, since this Vertigo thing happened to me, it's almost like I have like that. It's like there's like a mental condition where like people almost can't read time. I feel like I see the
Time
time.
blind?
Yeah, it's like time blindness. Like I see the time, but it doesn't actually like register with me. Like my brain goes, oh, it feels
What do
late.
you
So
mean?
like right now it's like 8:30. Okay, it's like say it's like it was like 8:30, but like for some reason my brain was reading the outside, feeling like it was midnight or something. And even though I could be staring at the time telling me it's 8:30, my brain would still be like, oh, it's midnight. And I don't understand why that happens. I'm not defending it or justifying it. I'm just saying like it's just a thing that my brain does since with the vertigo, the brain fog thing I have. Like I just can't think clearly, and it just like it jumbles things for me. But, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means or anything. I don't know. I feel like a doctor might just laugh at me if I told him that. But yeah, but that's just something that I deal with. So
Why would he laugh at you?
I don't know. I worry that I had a doctor laugh at me a couple of times, like trying to
Really?
explain. Yeah. I went to an endocrinologist
Oh my
once. And
god.
I was telling them about like some various like circulation issues I was having, and she just kind of like for something I don't know something about it. I must have said something that she thought was funny or embarrassing or something. She kind of laughed and like made me feel really really bad. I have a doctor laugh at you, like trying to tell them like something's wrong.
Mhm.
And yeah, and another doctor once that told me that I told him I was having a lot of trouble sleeping. That's why I went to the doctor because I was not sleeping well, which I haven't been lately either. I think I get about 3 hours sleep at night usually. Typically.
Oh my gosh. How do you
And,
survive?
I don't know.
Energy
I used-
drinks or coffee?
I can't sleep. I have insomnia really bad. I have to force myself to sleep. I just
Oh.
can't. I've been like that my whole life. I used to sleep a lot better than I do now. But yeah, I went to the doctor once because I'd been on Ambien before for sleep, and
Oh god.
yeah, it's not good either. But still, I was like, I thought there.
hallucinated on it.
I never hallucinated on it, but I know that it's got some bad side effects. It's gonna scare me. But still, I mean, I was desperate for sleep. I was sleeping like less than I am now at this point. And with this doctor, it's right because this was probably also because I was working. I just started at Amazon, and Amazon shifts. I was literally working from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. every night, and so then you try to sleep in those morning times. And I even though I'm usually a day sleeper type, I usually sleep better in the day. But at the time, it was really screwing with me, and I went to the doctor trying to get something to help me go to sleep because I would lay there in bed, nervous about going back to work and not being able to sleep, And the doctor it was a Muslim doctor, which I wouldn't even mention that he was Muslim except for the fact he was like very traditionally Muslim. He was dressed in like traditional Muslim garb, which I'd never seen before. And the guy goes, and I asked him if like this is possible for him to prescribe me on something like a sleep medication of some sort, like an Ambien or something like that. And he says, "How about this instead? How about I go to my office?" And I'm sorry to do the accent, but it's how it sounded to me in my head. "I'm going to go to my office. I'm going to get a gun and I shoot you instead. How about that?"
What?
What?
What was that about?
It was, and he looked very angry and aggressive too, and it was very, very scary. And I was like, "I'm sorry, did I didn't. I was just desperate for sleep. I wasn't like trying to like." And I think he was trying to say that the Ambien was so bad for you, I might as well just shoot you, right? I think that's what he was trying to say. It did not feel that way to me at all at the time, though. I think he was trying to be like dramatic in a way that would get my attention. I never went back to that doctor, so I'll never know.
That's
but
so weird.
I excused myself from the doctor's office very quickly and left. It was one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had. I've never had a doctor, and he got very close to me when he said this too. He got me very like close to my face, like right here. And he like says this, and he points his finger like it's a gun, and I was just like, "What the hell is
Oh
happening?"
my god.
Yeah, that was weird.
Scary.
Yeah, it was very scary.
Like, what?
I was like, "I'm just really tired, man. I just can't sleep." He tried to. I think he tried to tell me to chew valerian root or some shit like that. I was like, I was taking valerian root when I was like a teenager for sleep. It never helped for shit, and it smells like socks and feet, and I can't do it.
Does
Doesn't help.
melatonin help?
No,
Oh,
I wish it did. I still take it somewhat regularly.
the
Just,
highest dosage, probably.
just in case, it might start working at some point. I have a bunch of melatonin gummies
Mhm.
that I'll chew a couple of midnight just on the side. I a lot of times I'll take a Benadryl, and I
Okay.
really hate taking Benadryl, but it's the same thing as Unisom, and I have allergies anyway, so I figure it has at least it can help some of my allergy issues anyway, so I take that sometimes, but I know that that's not good for you, and
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not good for you.
I sleep but like last night, I think I slept like 2 hours last night tops. Like by the time I get to sleep, like my daughter's gonna be
Oh my
awake.
God. I don't know how you function. I'm amazed. by
Anxiety mostly keeps me animated.
anxiety.
I'm very, very anxious all the time.
But
so
sleep
it's
is so important for
I
your
agree.
brain.
very completely agree. I don't discount any of that. I do agree that sleep is very important, but it's something that's not going to be addressed until I get to see the doctor's appointment I have in like 3 weeks. It's the closest one they can get me. It's the 19th.
Oh,
So yeah, but they're able to get me like to see the doctor about my teeth. That one I get to see on the 4th. I don't know why that one was easy. It seems like you think a dental surgery consultation would be much harder to get than a basic primary care provider, but apparently not. So I don't know. But hopefully that doctor will be able to help address my sleep issues and maybe get me back my Adderall or something again. I'll probably start functioning better, hopefully. So
Do you feel tired right now or just animated?
I feel animated. Yeah. I don't feel. It's like I feel tired, but I'm numb to it. If that makes sense. I'm a very adaptable person. That's the thing that's been so hard about the vertigo for me is that I have not been able to adapt to it. And anything else, like I have really bad. I have like actual like X-ray proof like that I have like this really bad slip disc in my back. My back looks really bad on an X-ray, and the pain is always there, but I can adapt to it. I can numb it. I can get used to it. I get used to it being there, and I can kind of ignore it. And I know that it wears on me mentally, but I can ignore it if I have to, because I don't have any other options. The only things I have for pain, the only thing I really have that has any affects my pain is like alcohol, and I hate drinking. So, but occasionally I'll take a shot or two here and there to like when it really gets bad. But like I do not like the feeling that alcohol gives me at all. But
That sounds like a high pain tolerance.
I guess I do.
Yeah.
I suppose I do. But yeah, it's weird because like you get so used to like one kind of pain though. So if a different kind of pain comes in. I noticed like the other day when I had a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, I had pneumonia. It was making my chest hurt really bad. And like my chest hurting would make me more aware of my back hurting. You know, it's like the pain in another spot, like will make me, it disrupts that, disrupts the spell I put on myself that lets me like ignore the pain, you know? So then I'm aware of all the pain and it sucks all the more. So yeah. I know I'm going to stop talking about this because I feel like I am being like the whiniest, like poor me kind of person in the world right now. So.
No, you're not. It's okay. I was just curious about it because I know sleep is so important, and like that just sounds like really tough to deal with.
Insomnia is something I've dealt with most of my life, though. So I guess it's not the worst thing in the world for me. I've never slept well when I was a kid, so better than I sleep now. It's probably why I'm so crazy, to be honest.
Oh my gosh.
Do you know what ambient? Oh, sorry. Please go ahead.
And I was just gonna ask Jeff. How many hours of sleep do you get?
it depends. I've always had weird sleeping patterns. My body sleeps when it wants. Sometimes I stay up late at night. Sometimes I'm in bed by 7. Sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m. Sometimes I wake up. I'm rarely asleep past sunrise. Like I'm almost always up with chickens before the sun comes up. Then I'll take a nap. Some days I won't. I just go with my body. I don't try to plan it. I'm very active until my body feels tired, and then I sleep until it's not tired anymore and it wakes up, and then I can be active again.
I think I'm kind of like that. I'm more of like a night owl.
You're like a night owl?
Yeah.
Sometimes I am. Just depends on the day. I had one doctor told me, I think it was a psychiatrist, that what did he say? He asked me about my sleep patterns, and I told him that they're very erratic and I've never had normal patterns. And he said that was a sign of mental illness or something, like that wasn't normal. And I said, it's normal for me. I've had it my whole life. And he's like, no, you need to get better sleep patterns and make them more normal. I said, no, I don't.
Well, yeah, the doctor said he was going to shoot me before he said that. Because I hadn't asked him about the ambient yet. I was telling him about that's the same thing. He asked me about my sleep patterns. And I told him like how little I was sleeping. And he's like, oh, that's no good. You need to quit that job. And I was like, the job's the only reason I can even come see you right now because I had insurance with Amazon. I was like, that's the only reason I can even like be here in this office right now is because of the job. Like, I can't quit my job. He's like, well, that's no good. You can't sleep. You can't exist without a little sleep. And I was like, well, that's why I'm here talking to you.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening right now? It's like I came to the doctor because I'm not sleeping, and he's like, oh, you need to get more sleep. I'm like, no shit.
You're like, that's why I'm here.
I don't think he was a very good doctor. So
I think if I'm more stressed, I'll like go to sleep later and then sleep longer or something. But then like if I'm feeling okay, I just like sleep normally. It's weird. Sleep is weird. But I try to get like 7 to 8 hours and like my Apple Watch tracks it. So it'll be like, good job, you're staying on track. But yeah.
I've never worried about sleep. I just do it. I hate to sleep. Sleep is so boring. It's like a chore. I do it to get over it. So I sleep as little as possible. So I just do it when my body's tired enough to fall asleep. And other than that, I don't worry about it. I don't think about it. But one day, when I was in college and I had some, what is it, a pint or half a pint? It was coffee flavored ice cream and it had espresso chips in it. And I ate the entire
This sounds
pint
good.
like one sitting, and I was up for 50 something. My body could not get to sleep just from the caffeine and those little espresso chips. And my mom, like, a friend of mine had some diet pills, Adipex or something. It's like speed.
Oh
And
my
he gave me
God.
one day. He said, "Here, try one of these. It's a diet pill. It's a stimulant." And I took it. And I stayed up for like 2 days straight. I could not get to sleep. I had so much. I painted my mom's entire patio, and I never paint. I never do anything like that. Had so much energy. She said, "Do you need me to do anything?" She said, "You want to paint my patio?" I painted the whole patio. I was up there on a ladder for 2 days, just painting, because I could not get this
Oh my
energy
God.
out of me. That's the only like weird sleep experiences or lack of sleep I've had, other than like from drugs. Like when I take acid, I'm always the last to go to bed because I like to stay up until I like every little second of the trip.
I don't sleep on acid. I haven't in like the 3 times I did it. I've never slept on acid.
I'll take it in the evening and then sleep like the next afternoon.
Like one of the only things I really liked back when once again 20 years ago. So it's not a recent experience, but when I did speed back like all that time ago, one of the things I liked about it was the fact that it would keep me awake and really alert and awake until like I got to the point where I was so tired that when I go to sleep, I'd sleep really well. It's like the best sleep I ever got was like having down all that shit. Because I would be awake for like 3 days, you know. Like I mean, I don't know if it was really that long. I mean, it's kind of hard to keep track of time with all that shit, but I think that was years ago though. So.
We used to have mini thins back where they were legal. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I used to take those things. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but
What is that?
that's what kept me awake more than coffee. It was pseudoephedrine,
Mhm.
and you buy it like the 7-Eleven. It came in these little packets, and it was these little
They used
white
to make
tablets.
meth out of it.
Oh my God.
It was a bronchulator. It was for asthma people, and it would like open up your chest. You could breathe better, and it would give you so much energy.
It wasn't
You just have
pseudoephedrine.
energy
It was
just
ephedrine.
rushing through your body. Yeah, Metabolife was the ephedra, and it used to kind of do the same thing. But the pseudoephedra was the synthetic one. That was many things. And
Okay.
to me, that one was a lot stronger. And like truckers would take it to stay awake, and people would take it to go on long road trips.
That was really,
And
that was
it
the,
was also you would also lose weight on it because it would suppress your appetite, and that's what Metabolife was. But it's the same stuff. It's all ephedra
it's just speed. Yeah.
or pseudoephedra.
Yeah, that's actually the reason that was what let someone how I got someone to convince me to try it back then, try speed, was because I was like, oh well, yeah, I should take many things and shit like that all the time. They're like, oh, you'll love this then, you know. And I did like sort of this big line of the shit, and it hurt like hell. Hurt so bad. It was like it felt like glass going up your nostrils. But yeah, I didn't sleep for like 48 hours though. Yeah, back then, like I said, this was like stuff like the Breaking Bad shit. It was not like what they, like I said, like the girl that lived here before. she was getting speed, and like I saw and smelled the stuff that she was like smoking it and stuff like that. And it was not the same stuff I used to. I didn't touch it. Like it was nasty. I don't even know what the fuck it was. But that's the first time I'd seen it in years and years and years. And but it was completely different. Like when I watched Breaking Bad, I hadn't done it a long time at that point either. But I was like, yeah, that's the exact same shit. Like it looks like just like the stuff we used to do. And then I found that's not what it's like for most people anymore, apparently. So, but I mean, like I didn't really do it that many times, but it felt the times I did it felt like such a big thing at the time. It's a big deal to me that I just remember it really well, I guess. And plus, I was so alert and awake for the time I was on it. I mean, I think overall I probably did it, I don't know, 20 times maybe, like 20 different like times I did it with people. Like, I don't know.
Dang, I did like once. I didn't snort it or anything.
It was fun in a social setting because like everybody would be really creative and everybody would we'd do it like and do music and stuff like that. We'd sit there and play with guitars and like make up songs and shit. And it was like, it seemed like a really, I didn't even think of it as being anything harmful or destructive at the time, but I was also really careful about not doing it on my own because a friend of mine told me, it was like, don't do this shit on your own. You're going to get addicted to it, So I did. I followed the advice. Which isn't like me. I don't follow advice very well.
I don't do any drugs. I'm like super sensitive to all drugs. Like even like NyQuil. If I'm sick and I drink NyQuil, I'll like I'm like like if I smoke weed, I get super paranoid. Like I don't know what it is, but I can't do any drugs. Which I think is a good thing. It's like a blessing in disguise, but I'm like fascinated by drug culture. So that makes no I guess because I can't participate, so I like observing it and hearing about it.
Drug culture was okay when I was younger. As an adult, I look back on it. No interest. It has no appeal to me at all.
Yeah. If I go insane on like acid, I feel like I would have a terrible trip.
That's what I was worried about. My first trip, because that's the horror stories you would hear about it as a kid, is it's going to put you in the mental hospital. So the very first time I did it, that was my big fear. Am I going to? But then once I didn't, it was fine. I'm like, oh, okay, I can keep doing this. Nothing happened.
I don't think I'd ever do it. I don't think I'd risk it just because I know how sensitive I am.
I mean, if you were doing it with somebody that you really trusted, and you're really happy and comfortable with, and everything, you're probably fine. But yeah, I would never try to do it like with a group of new people or any kind of weird situations you're at all comfortable with, and you never want to do it like by yourself. I don't think, but like it's one of those things that like for me personally, I did it. Me and my wife did it together, and it was. We were both really comfortable, and obviously we know each other really well. So it was a very positive experience. But I can tell from the way the drug is, just like cause I have experienced it with shrooms somewhat. Shrooms can turn on you in a heartbeat just from like just bad energy in the room. You can start somebody will come in with a bad attitude or something like that, and you just make the whole night just feel oppressive. So like I can definitely see that happening with acid. But as long as you're around people that you really were comfortable with, and it was a positive vibe type thing, and there wasn't much chance of it turning negative, you're probably fine. But at the same time, if you're super sensitive to drugs, you probably, I don't know. It's the kind of thing like I don't know. You look like you're probably late 20s or so, probably
26.
26, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Mid to late 20s. So you're probably young enough where that's probably still be fine. But I wouldn't do it at my age again anyway. I might be tempted.
How old are you?
42.
Okay.
I might be tempted with acid because acid was generally a good experience. If I knew where it was coming from and it was good, I might be tempted. But there's pretty much nothing else I would even bother with anymore, though. I hate weed. Like it's like literally like we talked about this the other day. Like the synthetic pot shit they have out there right now is stupid strong, and it's
really strong. Like
now they have real pot. You don't even
knocked me out.
Well, here in Texas, only that.
Oh, you don't have y'all are not legal?
No. They probably never will because of the border.
Oh.
I can only smoke weed with like trusted people. Like if it's with like people I don't know but even then it's like I'm so sensitive to weed where it's like it's not enjoyable. It's like I feel like I can like turn on dumb TV shows and laugh. It's like I start getting like existential and like really psychological, and I become more aware of my own being. Like I'll start staring at myself in the mirror like, am I real? Like literally, like anytime I smoked weed, everyone would be like laughing and like they get munchies, and I'm like in the mirror, like, am I in a simulation? Where am I? Like, who am I truly? And I'll just like start having a conversation with myself in the mirror.
if you ever do shrooms, never look in a mirror. Never go into a bathroom by yourself and look in a mirror on shrooms. That's the worst thing you can do. I don't know why.
Anytime
It's
Or
just,
acid
it's bad.
either.
Yeah,
I feel like I would go straight to the mirror. For some reason, I always go to the mirror when I would
Don't
smoke
do it.
weed.
don't do it. Bad idea.
What would I see? Just like a demented creature?
No, you see yourself.
Oh.
And you see it.
And like your
Grow.
ego dissolving.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an ego death moment. It really is. And
Yeah.
for some reason, like you see yourself, and you're just like, what even am I? You know, it's like because it just associates you with this way
Yeah.
where you don't feel as attached to your reflection as you normally do. So it can really fuck with your head. You know, at least that's
Yeah,
my
I shouldn't
opinion.
do
That's
acid.
my experience.
I would go stare at myself in the mirror and be fucked.
Yeah,
That'd be bad.
pot always looks so fun, right? Pot always looks like people are just sort of, like relaxed and having a good time.
Yeah, not
And
me.
then-
I've never experienced that.
I have experienced it on really, really weak shit, but anything else that strong is what they have now. Like now it's like I lose the ability to speak.
That happens to me too. I'll get so in my head and like I'll be like, everyone can read my thoughts. Like, what's happening?
It's not.
Yeah, I can't smoke. But I envy people that can just like watch it and like or smoke it and then watch like Rick and Morty and eat hot Cheetos. That's not me though. Like that'll never
I
be
envy that
me.
I envy that too. I do. It's never going to be me either. So I had that experience like twice. I've had like 2 or 3 experiences with pot, smoking with certain people in the right conditions and the right kind of pot, where it was really enjoyable like that. But it's too much of a crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get, and it's just you never know what's going to happen. So it's not worth it. Yeah.
Was it nice to like shut off your brain though? Like that whole experience?
The very few times, and I smoked pot a lot of times, and only like 3. I have like 3 memorably good experiences. So yeah.
Hey, I'll be right back. Y'all keep talking.
All right.
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I've had like 3 memorably good experiences on pot. Every other experience I've had with pot has been, like I said, like almost traumatizing to the degree that it was like not fun. Like just, it makes me kind of dizzy already, and now I have the vertigo. So like I'm afraid.
It made
like,
me dizzy too.
Yeah.
Like I was like the ground was shaking. Like I couldn't tell like if I was even on Earth. Like I felt like everything was spitting out of. I had to like lay down and lay on like the cold floor and like ground myself just off weed. And then I got like suspicious. I'm like, did I get laced? Like I know I didn't because I did smoke like trusted people, but I didn't feel like positive while smoking. It was so bad, and everyone was like, they didn't make me feel bad about it, but they were just like vibing and having a good time, and I'm laying on the floor like. It was so embarrassing because I was freaking out, and I'm normally not like that. So it like I don't know.
Yeah, I've had a few drug experiences like that, and like it's I had an ecstasy experience like that once too, and I've done ecstasy like 3 or 4 times maybe total, and like 2 of those times were pretty fun. The 2 times were like absolutely trauma inducing, where like it just went the wrong way. Things just went all wrong, and like the night went wrong, and like I just felt bad. Then once somebody convinced me I had been awake for far too long and not on drugs, strangely enough. I just had a bad case of insomnia where I didn't sleep for like 7 days once. Okay, this literally happened. I've been awake for it was insane. I mean, even I was like freaking out because I hadn't slept in so long. And I did know, but I went and saw some of my friends that were still really into drugs and stuff like that. They're like, here, just take this. And they gave me like this little shot, this like tiny little shot of something. And I was like, what even is this? And I didn't. And they were like, just take it. And like, they're usually not like that to me. Like, it was really weird. Like, it was like this really weird, like the energy was really weird. I still know what was up with that. I think, but I felt like it was probably because I was slept. You know, I was so tired that I was like paranoid or something. And it turns out they gave me GHB.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was fun. I immediately went.
That's awful.
Yeah, well, I think that they thought it was going to chill me out. They thought they were not being malicious. They just I was probably, I have no idea what I even looked like at this point. I had not slept in 7 days. I was just and like they were trying to help me sleep. They thought it would help me go to sleep because they knocked some people out. And it was a very, I mean, like when I say a shot, I mean it was like half of the cap on a Coca-Cola bottle. That's how much it takes. That's how much it takes of GHB to fuck you up.
Okay.
This is a drug that, through no fault of my own, not because I wanted it, but because like one of these guys I knew left in my car half a bottle of this shit. Okay, it was like a bottle like this big,
Mhm.
and it was half a bottle of it. He left it in my car once, and I literally knew what it was, and I didn't want it. And it sat on my shelf in my room for like the next 6 months. I didn't touch it. I didn't even have never even got like the slightest temptation to touch it or ever touch it. Just sat there until finally I got a hold. I hadn't seen that guy in the whole time, and I finally was like, you left this shit in my car like all this time ago. Will you please come and take? Because I didn't even know what to do with it. I was afraid. I didn't know if I didn't want to like throw it out and like some kid get it or something like that. I should just pour it out into the toilet, but it was worth like. It was like, apparently I was told later it was like $10,000 worth of that shit
Oh my god.
in that bottle.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that at the time. I didn't know what to do with it. And I knew it was worth some money. But I didn't know it was worth that much money. And anyway, but I finally gave it back to the guy. And like, that was, but like, that's how bad my experience with it was that like, I had it just sitting on my shelf for all this time. And it wasn't because like I was afraid of the dude or anything. It was just like, I just didn't, it was there and I didn't have any desire to ever touch it. That's how bad an experience it was. So yeah.
That's intense though.
It is. It's not a fun. That was probably the worst trip I've ever had on anything. Was GHB. That's.
I feel like that'd be my experience. I probably would not sleep for 7 days, like, because I'm so sensitive. Like, it's dangerous for me to do anything.
I don't even know how to describe the feeling of GHB. It's not even like a high. It makes you feel like I can't explain it. I have no words to describe it. It's just a horrible hell feeling. I felt like I was in hell. Yeah, until I did finally whenever that trip or whatever you want to call it was over, I did sleep. So maybe it worked.
That's a
to some
good
degree.
thing.
But
yeah,
it's the only time I've ever been awake for that long too. And I was sober the whole time. It was the weird thing. I knew people that were doing like and selling speed stuff like that. I wasn't doing any of that shit. I was totally sober, but I just had like I don't even know what it was. I think I'm in stress or something, but I just couldn't sleep for like a whole week. It was like freaking me out too. I was like seeing smoke everywhere. Like you stay awake for too long, it makes like your vision starts going hazy. And I started thinking, I literally was like at my house thinking that it was on fire or something because it looked like everything was smoking.
Oh yeah.
It's like, can you see people talk about seeing shadow people? I never saw that when I was doing drugs, but I saw that just being awake, sober. So
I stayed up for like 3 days once and I started seeing like shadow people.
oh yeah,
Like, because I was like really fascinated by like the whole concept. So I like was like, I'm gonna test my own limitations. And then I started like I had the haziness. So I know what you're talking about. And then the shadow people really freaked me out. I was like, I need to go to sleep. Like, what is happening? Like, it's so creepy.
The
and
shadow
I like
people thing
scary
really
things, but it was like, no.
Well, scary things in a movie is one thing. Scary things in
Yeah.
life is totally different. So, I don't. I mean, like that's like I've never had a desire to go to like one of those haunted house things or anything. It's like I've experienced way scarier things than that. Like
I love haunted houses.
I
Really?
do too.
I find them to be tedious. It's just like a long
They
series
scare
of people.
me.
It's a long series of people trying to jump out and scare me. I don't jump
Yeah,
scare
that's
easily.
fun.
I don't jump
Yeah,
scare
it's
easily,
fun.
so it's just boring to me. I'm just like, oh come on, just like like
That's fair.
nothing because I already know I know that's what they're gonna do. I know that, and like none of the scenarios are creepy to me. None of like it just doesn't. I have a really hard time being scared by movies too. So
Oh wow.
the only movie I ever thought was scary was The Descent,
That was freaky.
but not the bat people part. The thing I thought was scary was the part when they're trapped when they get trapped in the cave and like the idea of being trapped underground and not having any that idea really does scare me. But the bat people it gets kind of corny once the bat people come into it and it just turns into an action movie. It's kind of fun at that point, but. Well, you guys were talking about the new Saw movie, right? The other day, like what like
Yeah,
She
I
was.
was.
she was, yeah.
I mean, I don't saw.
I don't know if I should go see it because I don't have any friends that like horror movies. I'd have to go see it by myself, and I don't know. Like, I can't tell if it's going to be like super gory and like gross me out to the point of wanting to throw up. Because I've never seen a Saw movie on the big screen, so I don't know what to expect.
I saw the first
don't
one in
know.
theaters.
Yeah, but it's so like gross. Like,
But you've seen the first three.
yeah, so it's like I don't know if I should see it. I didn't see the Jigsaw though, like
Aren't there-
Solo.
Are there 9 of them?
I think so. So I missed a lot, but I mean, I feel like it's the kind of movie you can really jump into it and be like, oh.
I tried to watch the Chris Rock one, but I couldn't get through it. It was not good. I think it was like a spin-off. It was like a Saw story called Spiral, I think, or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, it was not good. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I could not-
Spiral.
could
I
not
thought it was
get
called
through
Jigsaw, but yeah.
There is one called Jigsaw. There's one called Jigsaw.
Oh, there is?
Because whenever we talked about it the other day, I looked up the Saw series. I was like looking at all the titles. Yeah. There's one called. I think that was the most recent one. Was called Jigsaw. It's like a origin story, I guess, of who he was. I was gonna say, like, if we don't end up if you don't end up going to see it in theaters, like whenever as soon as I find it, you know, sailing the high seas as they were, I'll grab it and we'll watch it and talk about it. So.
Yeah, I think we should do that because I don't want to see it by myself in a theater.
Someone told me I look like Saul.
Yeah, I
don't
know.
who that is. I was on a live stream and
I don't
said,
really see it. I mean, maybe.
You look a little bit. You
Oh,
don't look
maybe.
like the character.
Let
you
me
look like
look
the
him
actor.
up.
You look like the actor a little bit that plays Jigsaw in the original movies. You look a little bit like him, but not like a negative. That's not a negative way. I just mean the actor himself. It's just you just kind of favor the actor, but the character itself is more like he's more like gaunt and like disturbing looking, I guess, or something. But you don't look like the character of Jigsaw to me. You
Yeah.
kind of resemble the actor a little bit. But everybody resembles somebody. When I was younger, people used to compare me to all sorts of weird actors and stuff like that.
Who did you get?
I don't think I'd get that these days, but when I was younger, I used to be really fat. When I was fat, I used to get Kevin Smith a lot. I once got Dave Matthews. I got a couple others before, but that was a long, long time ago.
I used to get Pee Wee Herman, Boy George. My kids, when I was teaching, they said I looked like Tony Hawk and Spider-Man. They used to call me Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, because the Spider-Man movie had just come out. And they'd say, "Can we call you
wow.
Spider-Man?"
That one I don't see, but
I don't see that.
It's not.
Maybe
I
a
don't know,
younger.
This is
yeah.
coming from middle schoolers. So.
All right. Okay. I used to get some weird ones, but I can't remember what they are anymore. I used to get some ones that really confused me, but I don't remember what they were these days. Yeah, did you look up what the actor looks like? The actor plays Jigsaw.
Yeah, but I don't think he really looks
What's
like
his name? I could look him up.
I want to say it's
Um,
Tobin something.
Yeah, Tobin Bell.
Tobin Bell. Yeah. I mean,
I
like
can
it's
kinda
very
see it, but
it's
not
very
really.
slight. It's very slight. I don't think it's a heavy resemblance at all, but I can see it just a little bit.
Oh
I
my
mean,
God, he's an old man.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like way older. That's why
I told
I
you.
don't.
I no more look like him. Who said that? How do they
I
get?
think I'm saying it's slight. I don't think you look
This is
just
the
like him.
most unflattering person I've ever been compared to yet.
I don't think you look
He's
like
like
him.
he's like 90 years old.
Is he?
He is.
He
He
looks
is.
like
His
80.
hairline is back up to here.
Well, okay, like, are you looking at the picture on his
I'm looking on
Wikipedia?
on the image search. I'm looking at hundreds of pictures of it. They all look
Okay.
like an old bald-headed man.
I'm thinking back like of him from the very first Saw movie, what he looked like in that movie, and that's because that's the only one I can actually know that I've seen all the way through. I think I've seen the second one too, but I think it's like you have the slightest resemblance to him. I didn't say it was heavy, but I could see where someone could say that. I just don't think it's significant, but I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, good thing I don't have too much vanity.
I just saw the new movie is getting like tons of good reviews.
Really?
That it's super gory. It's being called Beautiful and Brutal. Now it has my attention. Beautiful and brutal.
Well, they want you to think that. They're just throwing an AI probably wrote that.
Yeah, I'm not a diehard Saw fan, but I don't know. I guess the traps are super inventive this time, from what I'm reading. But
That's probably the best reason to watch them for the most
yeah,
part. There's something kind of funny about like when a horror movie gets to like its 10th incarnation. Like
yeah.
Jason X, for example. Like I don't like Friday the 13th movies. That one was really funny though. It was a really funny movie.
Yeah, I don't like
I mean,
Friday the 13th.
I've never been able to get through one, but I for some reason I saw Jason X with a bunch of friends whenever it came out in theaters, and like that one was hilarious. It's not supposed to be funny, but it was funny. Like she at one point it's like set in space because it's Friday the 13th in space. That's why it was funny.
That
He's
sounds
like
funny.
he's like yeah, it's on a spaceship like in the out in space. For some reason, he was frozen and put on a spaceship, and he gets unfrozen and he comes in and starts killing everybody. It's just dumb as it sounds. The funniest part, they're like a holodeck type simulation that's like simulating the original Crystal Lake for some reason, and he's just like, and I guess it's actually a reference to an earlier movie I didn't see. But like there's like this shot of him just like whacking this girl that was in a sleeping bag against a tree, just like doing it over and over again, and it's just like this really, it's really just passionate. It's just like it's cut in a funny way. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, it's actually it was actually entertaining. But at the same time, I didn't really like Freddy versus Jason that much. I think the Nightmare on Elm Street movies are okay.
Yeah.
The early ones are okay.
They were okay. It's a creepy concept. Like he terrorizes you in your dreams, but it's kind of like it didn't scare me that much.
They're not that scary, but it's a scary idea. It really
Yeah.
is a scary idea. Like he seems like he's the unbeatable horror villain. Really, he doesn't seem like. I mean, they beat him in every movie, but it doesn't seem like he should be beatable. It seems like he should win every one of those, but he doesn't somehow. But, yeah, I even wrote horror movies. I worked on horror scripts and done stuff like
awesome.
that. But I don't. I generally, and I think the reason why I end up working that genre was because I've been so generally unimpressed with horror films because I never find them scary.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I think the scariest, it's not the movie itself is awful, but the scariest probably like just like few minutes of a movie. Like if you just cut this one section out and watch it, the very first, like I say, 20 minutes of the Silent Hill movie are amazing. Just the first like 20 minutes or so, where like the character is like wandering in this town and there's like these creepy demon children and stuff like that. It has no explanation. It's mostly silent. It's really creepy. And then the movie opens its mouth and starts talking and it ruins the whole thing.
I like Pyramid Head though.
Yeah, Pyramid Head's cool.
Yeah.
See, up to the Pyramid Head scene, that's when the movie is like pretty much silent, all the way up to Pyramid Head, and then after that, there's like this. The movie just stops to explain itself to you, and it's really bad.
Yeah.
I like the concept of it anyway. It was a scary game for that matter. I think I never really played it back whenever it was new though. So I watched people play it.
Mm-hmm.
I had roommates that played that game obsessively.
That's cool.
Yeah, I at least I know that the next movie we watch won't be what this was. So
Yeah.
No, it won't be.
I forgot about it already. I forgot about the movie. I started thinking about Saw in my head.
Yeah. Jeff has seen it all the way through. I've seen the beginning of it. Jeff's seen it all the way through. So we know it's not a complete piece of shit. So at least that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's like a little indie. It's not a rom-com, but it's like a little
like
indie.
Science fiction, but like kind of dystopian, but doesn't get there. I don't know. Like.
Oh, you talking about the one tonight?
Yeah.
Oh no, yeah. So the one tonight, I don't even know what to call that. It's just garbage. Garbage film.
I know you hate it. I'm trying to give it a little grace, just a tiny bit.
I actually really liked the first hour. I was all ready to give it a good review based on the first hour, and then it just plummeted.
If it had gone, if they'd take that first hour and done something with it, yes. But considering the fact that the first hour is all set up for something that never happens, it's kind of garbage too, you know? Like, I mean, I do like the first hour, but I think you're right on that. Like, I think it's pretty interesting up to that midway point, and then it doesn't just drop the ball. It takes the ball and shreds it into a bunch of pieces and throws it in the incinerator.
Yeah,
so.
something happened halfway through, except for the girl. Like, I could have done without her the entire. I have no idea.
She was so unlikable.
What is the appeal for even having her on the screen?
Like, why were they in a relationship? What did they bond on even?
And they didn't, like, she was the reason the relationship ended when they talked about how they used to have love and they don't anymore. I'm like, well, it's her. She's the only moody one that was acting and like ambivalent the whole time. He never wavered in wanting the relationship. So it's not a big mystery to me what happened to their love. It was her. Yeah. She's just this moody, fickle.
Well, they were fine until
uninterested.
their parents all started fighting, right? That was the turning point. For
Yeah.
that. Was
But
like the parents.
that didn't change his feelings about her.
No, and it didn't make sense for her to change her feelings for him. Really, it didn't make sense. And she was the one that instigated the relationship. Really, she was. I mean, he moved them into their house because he liked her, but she was the one that pushed the relationship forward. And then she drops it just as easily. And you're right. Her character and the actress both are both bad.
Yeah.
I still say the lead actor is also bad, but yeah, I don't think the character is that badly written. But I think the lead performer is just too bland and too flat to carry that film by himself.
People with no personality just really get on my nerves, and people with negative personality like her, really get on my nerves.
Yeah, really. Because you're making a movie, you can make it about anybody, and there are interesting people in the world. So making an interesting character is not a reflection of real life. So you can make an interesting character, and if you can make an interesting character, why choose to make anything else besides an interesting character to follow? It doesn't make sense. Why would I want to make it to watch something about an uninteresting character or an unlikable character when you could watch something about an at least, even if they're unlikable, at least they can be interesting. But she's both boring and
boring and unlikable. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I don't think every character needs to be likable. I've watched movies with unlikable characters.
No, I love a good villain.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, there's a movie that came out.
If you take a bitchy woman and make her interesting or fun, I'll eat that up. She had there was no redeeming quality. She had blonde hair and blue eyes, so she was white. That's the only thing I would even think.
Blonde, blue-haired, and bitchy. Yeah. There was a movie that came out during COVID. I remember that was on Netflix. I think it was a Netflix movie. I'm not sure now. I can't remember the actress that was in it, but it was this movie about this woman who was like, her whole thing was that she was scamming like nursing homes or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but this character was like totally unlikable. The movie was fascinating. I was into it the whole way through, and the character was so accurate and awful that she was kind of funny, you know. And like I've seen tons of movies like that where I'm totally behind an unlikable like I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I love that show. And all the characters are completely unlikable. They're horrible characters, you know. So like being likable isn't a bad thing, but being unlikable and uninteresting, like why the fuck do you even why should I watch your movie? Why should I watch it? I mean, like, you know, I was really wondering. I mean, I was really glad to hear that you guys also hated it, because I was thinking, oh god, maybe I'm just being too critical. Maybe the movies actually not that bad, like, you know. And like but like I was happy to know that we were all on the same page there.
Yeah.
I guess
the second half was bad, and she was outright awful. Those are the two biggest flaws.
It really,
There's still good ideas in the second half. I just don't think they just don't do anything with them, and they're all just like they start an idea and they just go nowhere with it, and they start a different idea and they go nowhere with it. So yeah, I mean there's something funny in the concept of like the whole thing with like the alien wanting to. Like the kind of like a commentary on the parasocial relationship thing, where like this alien wants to be in this family, right? Wants to like take the father role and all this stuff like that. There's something kind of interesting about that. I think there's a germ of a good idea there, but yeah, they do absolutely nothing with it. It's just boring, and it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But you see what I mean? Like, it seems like it was kind of a commentary on the parasocial nature of parasocial relationships. It's like, you know, it's like you can imagine like someone who watches a streamer so much. I mean, someone who's like rich, and they watch the streamer so much that they offer to pay to be in their life, to be part of their life, or something like that. I could see that being kind of a good idea. That's kind of an interesting idea for a story. Not in this movie, but still, it's interesting.
And like being part of their relationship and like that invasion of privacy. I thought I was going to go in that direction more. But then,
exactly.
So I thought there was one scene where they kind of like zoomed out to like the audience that was watching. Like the aliens that were watching, and then I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good."
Yeah, exactly.
That never happened again.
Never happened.
Didn't even talk about that scene. Like, what was that?
It didn't even amount to like a mediocre episode of Black Mirror, which is kind of the premise is basically a Black Mirror episode, really, when you think about it. But it's not even like that interesting. It doesn't even do anything as interesting as Black Mirror does, and Black Mirror has some pretty rote, kind of like technology is bad kind of plots at this point, like it's as long as it's gone on. But I still think Black Mirror is like 1,000 times better than this ever thought about.
100%.
Yeah.
That didn't even feel like Black Mirror. That just felt like something that wanted to be Black Mirror.
Well, there is that one episode of Black Mirror from the first season that's really bad. It's about like the political cartoon character or something like that. I can't remember. There's like one episode of Black Mirror that I really, really hated. And this is like probably the closest thing that reminded me of that. Like, it reminded me of anything that reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Like that was also very like an interesting idea that went nowhere and did nothing. But at least it had the balls to be dark. At least it had the balls to give dark endings in Black Mirror. Like this thing have the balls to give a dark ending after all that shit.
What
and they
was
just, like,
the
have,
ending?
Like,
Him making the mural and
he stands up for himself and for his art and throws away the money, and then he goes and reconnects with the girl that's awful, and we don't.
and
like
they survive somehow.
Yeah, it's complete shit. Very bad.
Yeah. Those.
I'm sorry. I suggested it.
It's
Well,
okay.
we didn't
There's
know.
any bad
I wanted to
movies,
see it for the
yeah.
streaming,
Yeah, me too. I thought,
which
and
they did nothing of. It took up like 10 minutes of the movie.
and I didn't watch it first because I was like, I want to watch it with everybody and like it, so we all have like a first reaction to it. You know, I thought it'd be more interesting that way. In the future, maybe I will watch those movies, watch a movie ahead of time before I suggested maybe.
No, it's okay.
Anyway. Oh man. Well, I don't know. Anybody else got anything else on their minds?
No, we've reached the silence portion of tonight's episode.
Yeah.
And I'm trying.
Silence.
Oh, I could keep talking, but I'm trying to.
Actually, I'm
suppress
on
it.
another. There's a Cajun and Punk stream that I'm watching at the same time.
Oh, you're
You're
watching
watching it?
You're watching a stream right now?
Yeah,
How insulting!
Wow. Yeah.
insulting.
I'm insulted, Jeff.
I'll show a little bit of it because I don't think he'll mind.
Okay.
How are you watching and listening to us at the same time?
This is Be More Busker. He's a good follow. He just started live streaming too, and he plays Cajun music. And there's a punk rock guy, this guy, that he teams up with that does like electric punk guitar. And they team up and do Cajun punk.
That's an interesting concept. But now I'm just picturing you listening to that and hearing us at the same time, and like that's like an 80s.
Well, I had that one on silence. Actually, I was just watching.
Okay.
it.
I was like
And then
confused.
Cascadian is streaming in about an hour. He's going to expose the right-wing Paleocon grift, like the Jay Dyer cult and all those little factions on the right that are
He's
trying
going
to
to
get movements going.
He's going to expose them. How is he going to do that? I wonder.
Him and Traditional Culture Preservation Society.
Kind of feels like they expose themselves for the most part, but yeah, I mean,
They're gonna get
still,
some help tonight.
I still support them. You know, giving it to any cult out there. So give them hell.
I don't know. I don't really have anything on my mind tonight.
I'm
You
just trying.
always have things to say, I feel like.
I know, but we talked about drugs.
Mm.
We talked about movies. Did we talk? We didn't really talk philosophy.
No.
I actually wrote down a couple of things I wanted to talk about today with you on stream, and I forgot what they were, and I don't know what I did with the piece of paper I wrote them down on. Just like right, I mentioned that the other day. How I write things on a piece of paper and I lose them. It's exactly what happened.
Put them in your phone or on something electronic.
Yeah.
I know I should have, but I didn't. So
Do you prefer writing things down?
it's a bad old habit. Like I'm an old man now, and like I hold on to these old, like, you know, I'm really good for the most part. I've been really good about like putting notes in my phone and stuff like that. Wait, did my microphone just cut out?
No.
Mm.
Didn't? Okay, because it was and I think here on the screen, so the USB device wasn't recognized, and that usually happens with this mic sometimes. So, yeah, I wrote. I can't even remember, and usually
You don't remember any of them?
Usually, if I write something down, I usually remember it anyway, but not with the vertigo. So, like,
Think hard. Maybe one. How many did you write? Maybe one of them will come back to you.
I don't remember what it was now.
Politics, philosophy, culture,
Drugs.
online stuff, drugs, books, movies, television.
How much you love this movie.
Music.
Right, yeah. It was like it was something that my wife said to me last night, and like when we were going to bed, and like it reminded me of something else, and like that. Here, I'll look around, I'll find it. It's got to be here. I thought it was like I thought I had it sitting up here on the computer because that's what I left it there, so I would have it whenever, and then it's not there. So I don't know if somebody picked it up and threw it away or something. I mean, it just would have been me because there's nobody else picks up anything around here. But let's see. Like I've been trying to remember this whole time, all night. I've been trying to remember what I wrote down there, and I have not been able to remember it the whole time. So I don't know where it could have gone either. It was something about shit. I'm gonna stop saying like it was something about something because I don't remember. I don't know, guys. I'm an idiot, so don't worry about it. Where is it? I wrote it on an envelope too, of all things. I wrote it on the back of an envelope because I couldn't find anything else to write on.
Jeff, what are you drinking?
Hot water.
Hot water.
Like literally just drinking hot water.
Really?
That's all I drink.
Hot water.
All I drink is water. I don't. Yeah. I quit coffee.
I've never heard of that.
Warm
Hot
water.
water. Okay.
I mean, I drink cold water, but I don't
Yeah.
ever drink hot water or warm water.
It has to be cold for me, or else it's like gross for some reason.
Well,
I
in
found
the
it.
winter, I drink hot water. In the summer, I drink cool water, like ice water.
Okay.
Okay, this isn't gonna make a lot of sense because this was like me, like at like 3 a.m, like jotting down like things, and I it's not even barely legible because my handwriting never is. But I I was we were saying that's what it was. Okay, so me and we were talking about like all the gender pronoun stuff, and we were like, but like, how does that even work in Spanish? I was just wondering if anybody had any thoughts on that. You know, Spanish is like a really gendered language, right? So everything has pronouns in it. I just thought that was. I guess it doesn't spark anything with anybody. I was just thinking like, how
I don't know Spanish. I don't know Spanish. I know some French, but I do know that it doesn't. Alan, that was on here for the Barbie movie, speaks French, and I do know that there are challenges in French to pronouns because of the way the language.
No, I just like
I just don't know what they are.
I think it's like hilarious, like how this stuff. I mean, it feels like, you know, like with any romance language, like they all have like there's a diminutive, like, you know, like it's basically like, you know, like a senor and a senorita. It's really just like, I mean, it's like even to the degree where like senorita really just means a smaller senor. It's like a woman is just like a small man. You know, I just feel like, I don't know. I was thinking maybe there was something to that would be worth talking about for comedy purposes, but now it's saying it like this isn't funny. So I don't know. And I think I wrote down that I at the time, like, man, I was like 3 a.m. I was very tired, and I'm always very tired, I guess. But I was like, I think I took a couple of shots too, trying to get to sleep, and I wrote down like I don't know. I don't think any of this is funny now, so yeah, this is all pretty stupid actually. So never mind.
Well, it might spark something though. Just
it was just about how gender politics and pronouns worked with Romance languages, and then like I wrote down something about how it might be funny to make a parody type thing of What Is a Woman, but it was like What Is a Woman, but in Spanish, and so like it has even like I don't know why it was funny to me at the time. Now I'm like saying this out loud, and I'm just like I feel embarrassed. And I thought it was funny that
something. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I wrote down like my wife said something to me I thought was funny at the time. That she said I shouldn't be. I told her that I felt like the Vertigo was like feeling I was on a tilt-a-whirl all the time, and she said I shouldn't be so hard on myself for not thinking clearly because no one can ever write anything brilliant on a tilt-a-whirl. I don't know why I thought these things were funny. I wish. Yeah, I love.
I hate it.
But you can't really.
So this was your brain. You were writing this when your brain was feeling like a tilt-a-whirl.
Yes. It usually feels like that though.
Oh.
I mean, since the vertigo, it feels like I'm spinning all the time.
That
So it's
sounds
very-
miserable.
It is. It's
I'd
like,
have to live on Dramamine because I have like severe motion sensitivity.
oh, you do?
Yeah.
I
Like
wish
I can't go
Dramamine-
on roller coasters. I can't go to amusement parks. I'll throw up on the Ferris wheel.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Ferris
It's
wheel is
really
my
bad.
Ferris wheel is my most hated ride in the world. That's the most hated thing I have.
I have to
'Cause-
take Dramamine.
It doesn't make me dizzy like where it did when I was a kid. I just hate it because like they put you in that tiny little bench thing. They barely give you any kind of support to keep you from falling out, and then they just dangle you, and and it always stops all the time, and you end up like
Yeah,
stuck at the top of this goddamn thing for like, and then there's like asshole kids that'll try to kick your seat below, from above and stuff like that, and like
Well, they can't
I
reach
hate
it. That's
They
part of the
can't.
fun, though,
Seriously.
getting stuck at the top.
yeah, it's not fun to me.
It's fun, but I have to take Dramamine.
I love roller coasters. I can't do them anymore, but I love roller coasters. I could ride roller coasters like before the vertigo thing. I do it all the time. I love tilt-a-whirls. I loved all that stuff growing up. But like the one thing I can't handle is like any of like those like weird like swing type things or Ferris wheel type things where they take you really high up in the air with barely anything to hold you in the seat. Like there's one at Six Flags. It's called it's called something. It's like a swing ride, but it does it like up in like 500 feet in the air. It's like the top of like a skyscraper. And it just takes you up there, and it doesn't move very fast. It's very slowly moves you around, but you have nothing but like a single like rope a single chain across your waist. And it just feels like all you'd have to do is just kind of slip a little bit, and you just slip right out of that thing and fall to your death. And I hate it. So yeah.
But the gravity keeps you in your seat. They had those at Astroworld too, the Gunslinger.
But they barely move at all. It doesn't
Yeah,
feel like
those were
gravity.
fun. I love to swing, so that was really fun for me.
I like the ones that are on the
You don't
ground,
fall,
but I don't like those.
unless you like try to deliberately get out of the seat, you're not gonna fall out.
I know, but when someone who's as clumsy as I am, I was always clumsy even before the vertigo. I have like a weird like depth perception thing or something, and so someone as clumsy as I am, I know.
You
But
just
it
have to
doesn't-
sit.
I'm also,
It's
I'm also
like
very
not moving.
anxious. I'm very anxious, and I move a lot. I
You
jitter a lot.
squirm
so, like,
in the seat of the swing ride.
just thinking about it makes me nervous.
I thought I was bad.
I'm nervous talking about rides. I don't squirm, but I just like get sick, and then that freaks me out because I don't want to like throw up on the people below me, and that's happened, and that was so embarrassing.
That would
you
probably happen
throw
to me
up.
now.
I threw up on someone's head.
Yeah, I can see that happening to me now. That would be yeah.
I was like
understand.
trying to hold it in, and that's terrible to do. And then like I just threw up. I felt so bad. It was so embarrassing.
I get some of my worst dizziness and nausea like when I do go to sleep. When I finally get to sleep, I wake up a lot of times from like feeling really dizzy and nauseous because like I don't know, like rapid eye movement, literally going to REM sleep triggers the vertigo worse, and I feel more dizzy. And so I wake up sometimes. I wake up and like I have to throw up like right away, and I could totally see that happening to me. Like being on like one of those things nowadays, I would get the vertigo would be that bad, and I would probably throw up on people's heads. I can totally see that happening. I just think I feel your pain on that. I really feel you on that.
It was I was like 18, and I haven't been to like an amusement park since because like I don't
used
want
to
to
love 'em.
risk it.
You used to love them, really did. I haven't been to one since I had the vertigo, but I can't imagine trying to do it right now. I can't even do like the VR stuff I used to do before the vertigo, so I can't imagine doing anything that's
VR.
really moving.
With my motion sensitivity, I can't do VR. I can barely play video games. Like even Call of Duty, I'll start getting sick.
I get that way. With some games now too. It's probably a lot of the reason I don't play a lot of games. Most first person type shooters, they trigger it. They trigger it pretty bad. There's this one called Hardship or Hard Space Shipbreaker or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It sounded like a really relaxing game. Basically, you play. It's a first person game where you play this guy who's like, you go out into space and you use like some tool to like break down old ships or something like that in space, but it's all zero gravity. And like the motion of that game, like it made me immediately sick. I couldn't even like I couldn't get like 5 minutes of the tutorial. Because I thought it was gonna be like a relaxing, like kind of like a puzzle game. You just had to figure out how to like break the ship apart. There's nobody to fight or anything like that. But I couldn't even handle the motion of it. It just made me sick immediately. So not fun.
I want to play games, but it's like I have to take Dramamine. I don't think that's healthy to take Dramamine before you play games. It's like taking Benadryl before you go to sleep.
Dramamine doesn't do anything, doesn't help me at all for some reason. The only thing that helps a little bit is the stuff called meclizine, which is which I found out recently is now over the counter. It did not used to be. Back whenever I first was prescribed it was not over the counter. But I guess it got legalized for OTC use in the last couple of years, which is really annoying. Because like I went to the hospital, and after being there all day and finally getting prescribed, the only thing I got out of the whole visit was a prescription for meclizine. And I went to the pharmacy then there at the hospital and waited for another 2 hours for them to tell me that, oh, it's over the counter, so we can't give it to you. And anyway, so I went and got some meclizine at the CVS, and it does still help a little bit, but it also makes it where when it wears off, I feel 10 times worse than I did before I take it. So I barely ever take it. I take it if I have to drive somewhere, because it'll get me to it'll calm it down enough where I can get to a destination. But yeah, it's not a good solution. And I was told it by many doctors too, like don't try to take it all the time. It'll stop working. Like really, if you have to take it like whenever you need it only. So yeah, I think I've got some sort of inner ear thing. I don't know what it is. It started whenever I got the vaccine, and it hasn't gone away. So some people say it's like long COVID. Some people say it's like a long COVID thing and not the vaccine. Some people have said that maybe it was an adverse reaction to the vaccine. I talked to somebody in Paul's Discord that also had the very similar vertigo type things as me, and they said it wasn't. They didn't think it was for the vaccine, but they had long COVID. So I don't know. It's one of the two things, I guess. But hopefully, I'll find out something from the doctor here in January. That's how long it takes to get the ENT. So
A long time.
well, it's been 2 years already, so it's crazy. That's because I got insurance through the local hospital that only works with the in-network thing with the hospital. So it's a doctor that's worked for Parkland, and that's the reason I have to wait so long, because like I can't just go to any ENT. I have to go to their specific one. So, but at least I have insurance though, so at least for the next year. Anyway. You seem like are you watching something else, Jeff?
I feel like
Oh,
he's
I'm
watching
here. I have a puzzle going in the background too.
I was gonna say the puzzle.
Yeah, it's a puzzle.
I can tell you, it looked like you were looking at something like off to the side. Well, I don't know, guys. Even though I'm not probably going to sleep, I'm going to probably try to like wind down and try to see if I can make myself sleepy here in the next couple of hours. I don't know. Maybe I'll get to sleep by 1 or 2 tonight. Who knows? So. Okay. But it's been really cool talking, though. I have enjoyed talking to you guys very much. And are you guys going to keep going for a while? Are you going to end it?
I might keep going for a little while. I'll probably make that stream at 8:30. That's less than an hour.
You have a link to
So
it?
maybe
Can you drop a link to it in the private chat here?
Yeah, let me find it.
So I'm still awake. I might come back on and check it out.
All right.
Cool. Yeah, I might check that out here, and whenever that happens, see how his and now I need to get a link to his thing anyway, because I did not have him his channel bookmarked. So
Him and TCPS, those are both good channels to bookmark.
And Machine, I think I have Machine Lines now. I think I got that one last time.
Yeah, he does it on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and Saturdays is usually his all-night stream.
Let's see.
And then I think they're doing some drama stream on him again tonight. One of the people that are going after him.
I certainly hope hope that shit just dies in. I hope that those assholes get bored and stop. Like, you know, have they still been like?
I think as long as it gets clicks and viewers, people they're gonna milk it for whatever they can.
So it's probably not even about like an issue as much as it's just them trying to get clicks. Then
I don't know how it started. I don't know the timeline. There's two two origin points for it. One was my appearance on his stream, and the
Right.
guy got really offended that he had a Satanist on his stream, or that Machine Lies asked some questions about Jay Dyer and his little Arthur cult, and then that activated a bunch of them to start like going into attack mode. But they're not all of them are even Orthodox.
I mean, do you think that they were actually like offended that they were on the stream, or was it just you think it was performative?
I think this guy was drunk.
Right,
He seemed actually offended, but he's the type to get offended about everything. Like it's not about being offended. He looks for a reason to get offended because that's who he is. That's his personality type. So he's a troll. So he's going to troll over anything. This just gave him an opportunity to troll.
Right. So
there was a gay Satanist on the show, so he saw an easy target. So he used that as a platform. And I don't know that he expected Machine to kind of step in and defend me as much as he did, or really defend his stream is what he was doing. It's not really about me, but it's about, this is my stream. You're not going to come on my stream and harass my guests and tell me who I can have as guests or not.
I mean, was he was on the stream with you? He was on stream?
Yeah.
He wasn't just in the comments?
He's anonymous. He hides his face. So he didn't.
So why didn't they just kick him off?
Machine doesn't do that.
Wow. To me,
they would not be on my stream doing that.
Yeah, I see. Like that's to me, that's
they go to the streams that there's a whole little like cluster of trolls, and they all go on the same streams because they know they're not going to get kicked off, and they stay for hours and hours and hours, like doing their trolling and spewing their shit, and it builds up a little audience. Like people watch for the drama. So I don't know if they don't kick them off because they bring drama ratings, or if they don't kick them off because it's the free speech and open stream and all that, or if Machine Lies is too chill of a person.
I find that shit so boring. Like I'll stop watching streams with people if they just like have somebody just on there just like trying to create drama, especially when they're doing it unsuccessfully like that. Just yelling insults at you for like 4 hours. Like, dear God,
and not only me, everybody. Like he attacked everybody, and these were his friends, and he even went off on them. He attacked Machine. He really personal attacks about Machine and his personal life. Every guest that tried to step in and like be the voice of reason got attacked.
I mean, maybe if it was funny, but if it's not even funny, then like, what's the point?
It was an alcoholic on a rampage. Just in anybody and everybody that he could.
Yeah, that's like not okay to me. I don't know. I mean,
it didn't end there because his friend, the friends of the other alcoholics that are his friends, came in and defended him. And that's kind of what started the escalation. So he had a whole team of enablers. If you had just let him be the lone troll making an ass out of himself, that would have been one thing.
It's just toxic as hell.
But then when he kept it going to save face, his friends all jumped in on his side and started jumping in with him. So some of it's like that pack mentality. And it got directed at Neurojack and Machine Lies mostly.
I just don't understand like why Machine would even like I mean, like I guess you said he's just too chill of a guy, but like I mean he seems like I've talked to him a couple of times now and seems like a pretty like I don't know, he doesn't seem like I'm not saying he doesn't seem chill in like a good way, but I mean he doesn't seem like he's like that passive of a person. I just have a hard time believing like, yeah, so
he's chill, but he's not passive. But he was doing one stream and he was trying to talk about Aristotle and philosophy and give all of this background, and the people in the chat kept talking about the drama, and then people would hop on the stream because it's like this when anybody can hop on, and instead of talking about Aristotle, they would keep talking about the drama. So every time he tried to keep it on some philosophy topic, the audience wanted the drama, and so the drama took precedence that night. And then he did a whole stream last weekend, a 14-hour stream just devoted to the drama. So he's trying to like get all the drama up front now and go back to the philosophy once the drama's over, because he tried to do the philosophy while the drama was happening, and that's not what the people wanted to pay attention to.
So it kind of sounds like, I guess even someone like Machine Lies, which I never would have thought that about him. It kind of seems like even he's like a little susceptible to the audience capture thing. Then I guess I mean, I'm not trying to insult him. I'm just saying. I mean, I guess I get it. You know, if you're trying to.
I mean, he
if you're
could
trying to-
end it. He could say, "I'm not doing this. I'm just going to go back to talking about Aristotle." But
You just kick the people that are trolling. I mean, just kick the trolls. I mean, I don't.
that's
see
what
why-
I would have done.
Yeah.
Like the night all this happened, I would have just kicked that guy off and not let him off for 4 hours.
I mean, it would have been fine. You know, I don't know why you would.
Because me and
willfully subject you to
TCPS
that.
were in a really good philosophical conversation about consciousness and reality and simulation and all that. And then he came on and started the trolling, and we couldn't even have our conversation.
No,
So
it's
I
weird.
thought our conversation was much more interesting than, bitch, Satanist, faggot, bleh, bleh, for 4 hours. I thought our conversation was
Boring.
richer content, but even that we couldn't. It got held hostage to the troll. I would have just kicked him off my stream.
I mean, even Andrew's funnier than that. When Andrew insults people, I mean, he's a little bit abrasive, but at least he's a little bit funny every now and then. But that doesn't sound like it's even remotely. It doesn't sound. I just don't understand where the audience thirst for that comes from. It just, I don't get it. I don't get that as entertainment.
And these were all friends too, so maybe it's because they were friends. So, like, I wouldn't kick you off a stream, although if you were acting the ass, I certainly would.
You definitely should. If I'm taking over the stream and insulting everybody and like won't let anybody else speak and just like screaming at people, yeah, you should totally kick me off the stream. If I was drunk, if I came on the stream like one day and I was drunk and belligerent and just being like an asshole, yeah, kick me off. I would expect that. My sober self would anyway. I don't really get drunk like that, but if I ever did, if it was ever possible for that to happen, then like that's what I would expect. I mean, like it's like the common sense thing to do. You know, like I mean, like really, because at that point you're not even protecting. It's not even about protecting your show or your audience. It's about protecting even the person. If it's your friend, you're protecting them by kicking them off there. Like they're making ass themselves. Like why would you? You know, don't let them do that.
If people get dropped, and this happens to me too all the time. You get locked in a drama loop, and then it just keeps going and escalates. It's so easy to do. Sometimes you don't even notice you're in it.
Yeah. That's why I try to say, like, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good
Not my
phrase.
circus. That's what I tell myself. If I notice myself getting attracted to that, I'm like, wait a second. Let's step
I
out
know.
of it.
I had to pull myself. I was in it for weeks. I was like glued to the screen watching all the drama. And then I had to, like last week, I had to pull myself away and say, this is not really a drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
It's tough to do.
It was distracting me from doing my own stream, like what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Josh was there in chat. He said the only thing a person can do is ignore it. Yeah, I mean, that's true.
I guess I eventually got burnt out on it because I was.
It was happening for weeks. I thought this was all recent.
Yes, this went on for weeks. It's still going on.
Oh,
They're doing some Chalk Body's doing a stream tonight. On
It was like one session or one stream.
But what I don't know. Oh, hey Joshua, you can come on too if you want. What I don't know is if the Jay Dyer thing happened before me, or if I came first and then Machine criticized Jay Dyer. But they happened about the same time. I'm just not sure which one set off this chain of events. It might have been both. Hey Joshua, welcome.
Yeah, well,
did you clean your house? Did you get beat up?
I gotta you know when Asians talk, it kind of sounds like a bunch of pots and pans banging together. She was chewing me out, and I don't understand a word she was saying, but it was pretty bad. It was really bad. I just don't understand a damn word she was saying. I can't stand the Vietnamese language.
Interesting relationship.
Yeah. The relationship consists of me just doing what I'm told most of the time, and that few times where I just like say, you know what, I'm taking a day off. Yeah, that gets really bad.
Oh.
So I'm guessing I haven't been around ML's podcast in I don't know, a couple days. I guess I'm guessing that's still going on. You guys are talking about it, so I'm assuming it's still going.
Well, I was giving him the.
Yeah,
like filling him on the because he wasn't involved directly, but I think Chalk Body Outline was doing something tonight.
I didn't realize it'd been going for weeks. The first I heard of it was was earlier this week, or I think earlier this week. That's the first I ever heard of it. So I had no idea this was been going on for weeks. I had no clue. I never get involved in stuff like that though. It's the closest I've gotten anything like
I'm
that
a
in a long
drama
time.
magnet. I'm always in. If there's drama around, I'm probably going to be in the middle. And I don't cause the drama, but I'm like the vortex that it forms around.
Well, I'm real pissy about the whole like personal attacks kind of thing, but this really boils down to the whole like ortho bros. There's like this weird internal something's going on within that. I'm actually usually a pretty big fan of Christianity, but this I don't even know what the hell this is.
It's a cult.
It's kind of like Sunday school has decided to take over the internet. It's those people.
It's a cult.
Well, I give it to you.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know if I call it Sunday school, but definitely like junior high school. I
No,
don't know
like
what church. they're
drama
going
like
to.
that. Drama like that happens in churches all the time. That's what actually got me out of church. Being a church going whenever I was younger, and I had my fill of church was because of shit like that, like stupid little drama stuff. That's why I stopped. That's why it's what disillusioned me. So it sent me down the whole road of like that's what disillusioned me with like spirituality for a long time. Why I started being agnostic was because I used to be like I was a young like church leader type. I was in like church leadership and stuff like that, and then like I went to a church that they did what they call cell churches, where like so they had little like basically Bible studies that just met instead of having like a big Sunday church thing. That was like the main thing. We had like little churches throughout the week, little like small groups. And so very like little community groups, right? Like little like things like that. And they really were more community groups than they were anything. They really weren't that much about Bible study or anything like that. It was really just like a soul support group, right? And I had my own support group. And then one day I went to the leadership meeting, and they pulled me aside and they were like, "Hey, actually, we're gonna put a pause on you leading this group and stuff like that." And like they didn't give me a reason or anything. And I came to find out later on that the main reason that they did this, it was like all of them conspiring behind this. I was literally told this by one of the other people. It was like they all decided behind the scenes that I was too square for them, basically. Like they couldn't cut loose. Yeah, I was too much of a square. I really used to be really a goody two shoes type of person. I guess I didn't think of myself that way, but I didn't do any drugs. I didn't smoke. I didn't I wasn't like I was not sexually active, and I guess they all were. And they couldn't do that stuff when I was around because like I was too much of a Christian in that sense, and they kicked me out of being a church leader because I was too good of a Christian, and that disillusioned me quite a bit. I became very disillusioned, and so like I've seen that kind of like backbiting, like little sniffling like drama shit. Yeah, I've seen it in churches of my whole life. My dad was a minister whenever I was growing up, and he also most of the churches he got let go from was usually because of like weird little like drama stuff. It wasn't really from anything that he did personally.
Yeah, people are drama. Like that defines human relationships and the human condition, more or less, is drama. That's what we watch. All our movies are drama, our TV shows. We are dramatic beings. It's just how you manage the drama. Like, does it manage you, or do you manage it?
Right. Yeah. I prefer to keep my drama to fiction. I guess I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that your life can be dramatic, but not that. That's not to me. My life is dramatic. It's been very dramatic for a long time, but it doesn't mean like it's not drama. Like just like little sniveling, backbiting, like junior high shit. Like you're talking about. Like you're saying like junior high. Yeah. Like that's the stuff I can't take. Yeah, like that's the stuff I just can't. I mean, yes, we are dramatic creatures by nature. We have dramatic lives a lot of times, but yeah, that stuff that junior high immature bullshit like that, I can't take it. I just get very.
Especially when it's other people's drama, then I can really indulge it. Where I could just sit back with the popcorn, and none of it has anything to do with me.
Yeah, you're not involved at all.
I put a link in the chat, but I can play a little. This is where it all started.
Ooh. Yeah, what's up, Jeff?
Yeah, I clicked on it and saved it there.
Hey, what's up? Wait, let me see when Toilet Bowl comes on.
That's terrifying.
Just always.
That's terrifying. Yeah. Are you bringing those peers to Satan also?
Yeah, I do. I
term that I find to the show.
Well, that's not all of science. What you're talking about?
No, I know.
I was just trying to get.
who is Norbert Weiner. He wrote a book called God.
Take the devil.
Produced with
Well,
The church.
That are quote unquote.
you know what? I'll try to find toilet bowl. Although I shouldn't really. I don't really want to.
No, it's okay. I'll look into it later. If you find the timestamps thing, I'm gonna check it out just to see what the. But I don't really care. I mean,
Okay,
I don't really need to see like you already described it to me. It sounds horrible. It sounds unbearable to listen to. So I don't know I want to watch it.
Anyway, I've explained all that.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Trad, where we left it was this concept.
See, this is me and TCPS
Maybe
trying to have a
someday we can
conversation.
pick up from
Oh yeah,
When you were-
yeah. You want easy fucking opponents to just dance around and waffle and do your solipsism bullshit. But when somebody actually asks you about metaphysical
Hang
concepts,
on. Wait.
epistemological things,
I'll take
bring
that.
it
No,
to
now
you.
it's the personal beef. You're calling
No,
me.
it's not. Man, shut your mouth, man. Shut your mouth. When I ask you real question, you can't answer. You go, "Oh, this is becoming too toxic for me." You become a liberal fucking retard.
A Satanist saying it's too toxic.
I never use the word toxic because I hate that word. I didn't use the word. You can rewind the tape. You never hear me say that word.
I don't
will
give a
never
shit
have
if
heard
you
me
use
say
the word or
toxic
not.
tonight.
I never
See,
said
he's
you.
just- so it was that for all night long. He was slurring and attacking people.
Oh
Oh,
my
where did
gosh.
StreamYard go? Oh,
I won't be able to handle that.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah,
Emma, I was on for 4 hours before the light bulb went off, and I'm like,
How are
why?
you
am
in
I-
that? This is
It
like
never crossed my
bloopers.
mind that I don't have to do this.
that's kind of on Machine Lies though. He should have kicked him. I'm
It's
sorry.
like it's like everything's on fire. It's a whole concept again. It's all burning down,
Right.
and you're watching it.
That's my pattern.
get
I never
that.
notice the flames. at
As soon as
all.
you
That's
press
why-
play on that
part
video,
of
I
the
could
statement.
feel the tension.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Like it felt
That's
like
so
abuse.
the household, like the household I grew up in, it was that kind of drama all the time.
Yeah.
I'm so desensitized to it. I don't even notice that it's drama.
I know.
I could sit in it for hours and not even be aware
But
that
that
this is not
scares
normal
me.
drama.
Because you sat in that for 4 hours.
Well, part of it is because the conversations I was having with the other people were really interesting. So, in my
Yeah, that's
mind,
part
I
of
was
it.
there to have those conversations, and he kept interrupting. But he kept doing it for 4 hours.
And you're able to like
To
filter
where
it
that
out.
became the whole conversation. He hijacked the entire stream, and I didn't notice until 4 hours later. And then I said, and half of them had already signed off. And then I said, "Why am I? I don't have to be here. If it's going to be like this all night long,
Yeah.
then I'm out of here." But that's how long it took for me to realize that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean like, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I understand what you mean though. Like about like it being like when you're in the middle of it, you don't really necessarily notice it. I mean, I hope I would have noticed it before 4 hours, but I might not have either. But Machine Lies definitely. He should have known what was happening. I mean, he should have pruned that branch from the tree. Like there's certain. It's just like that's what your job is to do if you're running the stream. Like that's your job. You gotta kick people like that. I don't know. I mean, like I'll say that to him next time I see him. I'm gonna ask him, like, dude, like, why the hell did you kick him? I'm gonna ask him when I see him next time. Just like I gotta know.
I'm
Like,
kind of
why-
surprised by it. Because just
Yeah,
the
he
like,
doesn't
30
kick-
seconds you showed us, it felt like you're being attacked.
That was just a
so
taste.
much.
It was.
I could not watch
Machine
that whole
doesn't kick
thing.
anybody. Like he's one of the most tolerant people. It takes so much to get to the point where he'll actually kick.
He has
someone.
like a high tolerance then. Because that's
Yeah.
like,
I think
Like
too
he might
high
have grown
tolerance.
up like me. Maybe
Yeah.
he grew up in the same high drama environments to where it doesn't cross his mind to kick someone for
that
just
guy
that.
was being a total dick. Like, and he was saying such like hurtful and hateful stuff.
And then he attacked Machine. That like he talked about his family and everything and his personal life.
Oh my
on that
god.
later on in the stream after Machine kept jumping in to defend everybody else.
Yeah, no, I heard him on the. Wasn't that he was Machine that was talking to me? So I'm like, shut the fuck up and all that shit, right? And it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why the hell would you let him talk to him like that on his own stream? It wasn't funny. It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't adding anything to the conversation. So like, I mean,
No,
literally,
it was
it's
an
just-
alcoholic
It's poisoning.
on a rampage.
Yeah,
It's poison. To me, that's just poison. Like it's just like.
I agree.
Oh, someone's at the door. Hang on.
Okay.
Talk.
That was definitely hard to watch.
Yeah, we didn't watch very much of it. Yeah,
I
but
know.
That was what it was.
Yeah.
I hope he can hear me. It's the tax collector. It is the tax collector. Don't open the door.
I don't think he can hear you. I think he. I don't know if he left or like he didn't turn off his cam. He's like he dropped out. So I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Maybe he's like. So how you doing though? How you doing, Josh?
I'm good. I'm over there in the racist community dealing with them.
Okay.
The racist community.
There's that one streamer,
Stream-
Chaotic
stream
Truth.
that-
Not the same one you were in.
Oh, okay.
But the main guy.
Oh, you've been hanging out with them.
It's either the white racist or the black racist, and I'm right in the middle.
So you're what a clear racist? Or?
I have no clue.
A beige racist?
It's actually really bad because some of the talking points are, I guess, addictive. I caught myself repeating one of them once. I was like, oh, God, now, right? Like, this is contagious. The hell is wrong with me? Yeah.
Which talking point?
There was there was a British guy. He showed up and he had to put in his little 2
Simon
cents and
somebody.
everything. Yeah, and I guess he went off and was making a couple comments and everything, and there's half the panel's black, and I was like, so I'm sitting there real quiet. I usually mind my own business most of the time. I'll take in the points, whether I agree or disagree. It doesn't really much matter, but the host decided to throw me under the bus. Oh, Mr. Josh, what the hell do you think about what's going on? I was like, I'm just curious which one of you on the panel is going to ask for reparations for burning our White House down, right? Like, I don't know why I said it. It was just the first thing that popped in my mind, and I realized, God, I'm in a horrible environment. This is the shit that does it in for me.
What's the whole phrase about, like, if you wrestle with pigs, you just get really dirty or something like that? That phrase about, rolling, yeah. You seem to recover in shit. Like, I can't. I mean, it's one thing to go on a panel every now and then, but I couldn't just hang out in those places. Like, it does. It infects you after a while,
Yep.
You soak in that negativity, and it'll get to you. It really will.
Yep.
I mean, that's the reason why people do use the term toxic or something like that, because, and I agree with Jeff. Like, I do hate that term because it gets overused in society. But I do understand, like, in that kind of situation, it literally is. It's like a toxin that, like, literally seeps into your pores after a while, and it actually makes you sick, So I don't know. That's why I stay away from it.
I'm just, the only thing that I'm still a little confused. Like I said, you met the masked man, I don't actually believe half of these people actually believe the bullshit they say. I honestly don't. I think so. I think it's a bunch of dudes seeking attention.
Well, that adds up.
I guess the reason I say it is because they're never consistent. But I mean, hell, Chris got the fucker to literally back down off of his first statement. He didn't even get to debate, right? He just like, this is what I believe. The other dude just backed away like a little girl. I'm like, oh God, I'm not as old as you, so I can't say the things that I want to. But I mean,
I know. I thought it was bizarre. I mean, because it confused me so much because I was just like, what? Like, because I made my statement and I didn't even, it's not like I was trying to convince anybody. I just like made my statement. And then he was like, yes, absolutely. All this stuff. I was like, what? I thought you were the racist guy. What's going on here? What kind of topsy-turvy world is this?
I had to actually go back and rewatch the stream just to make sure that's what I saw. I will eventually catch him out. I sent him a message and said, of course, I didn't throw Chris under the bus. I threw you under the bus, Jeff. Like, I basically.
What did you say?
Well, so he rolls with the Christian
I'm usually
crowd.
the sacrificial victim.
Yeah, well, no, he rolls with the Christian crowd, and I made sure to let him know. I said, it was a Satanist that made you nut up like that. Just backed you off instantly. And it kind of took it a little bit personal. I was like, what the hell are you people doing? Like, seriously. I don't know. Like I said, I don't believe they believe half the bullshit they're saying. I really don't.
What is the need for, like, what drives that need for attention? Is that normal human need? Is it loneliness? Why?
It's actually a lack. We used to do the same things back before the internet. So you remember back when the landline phones were a big thing? People would run to a phone. There's no answering machine. Everybody hated the answering machine. We wanted that connection, right? We were always like this. The difference is the environment's changed and how we get attention from other people.
I always had positive like I didn't need to get it from strangers until the internet, I guess. But I always had positive attention from friend groups.
It's just easier. It's just us taking a typical tool that normally made us lazy, and we're just, I don't know, too much of it.
Yeah, I see what you mean, though. I mean,
I try to use it for good. Like I try to give and get good attention.
You do.
Everything is a tool, good or bad. It is what it is. I admit I'm using it for both. I don't watch TV. This is my TV.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I watch this more than TV.
I don't watch anything I don't download, so yeah, I don't really watch TV anymore. I haven't in a long time.
Partly because it's interactive. Like I can't interact with a TV show. There's no comment section. I can't hop on the show.
Like the stream the stream where I met you on Paul's stream. That's the first time I'd been in a comment section besides just like making one or two random comments over the course of like the years I've been watching YouTube. That was probably the first comment section I'd ever gotten into ever. That was like that. I had to make a concerted effort to like I was trying to make myself like, be social because I'm so bad at being social, and I'd gotten so like wrapped up inside my like little bubble, and I didn't. And so like that was and you were the first person who reached out to me right away, and that's how we confront. So, it's weird. It's weird that just to hear people talking about how like how regular part of it is of their lives, like the comment sections and stuff like that. Like I kind of avoided things that were like required interaction for a long time.
YouTube comment sections are one of the best tools for community building that I've found. My first podcast, we built an entire community from the viewers in the content sections, and eventually we had our own Discord.
I definitely see that now. I think I had the wrong impression. I think because for a long time, the earlier days of YouTube, the YouTube comments were like one of the most toxic. I'm sorry to use that term. It was one of the most awful places you could be. No one ever said anything constructive. It was all just people just trolling and saying and just shit talking constantly. So I think this really negative impression of YouTube comment sections in general for most of my life. So I mean, most of my life that YouTube has existed. So I don't have that impression of it now, but I used to really think that way.
Well, it's like Joshua, they're tools. If you find the right communities that manage their trolls.
Actually, if you can organize your community, you can actually do a lot of damage to society too. I mean, I guess by damage, I mean if you want society to go in another way or not, you can actually make a huge impact on people. It just depends on how you go about doing it.
Talk to me about that, because I'm very resistant to like interfering in how other people, like I never have the urge to tell people what to do or how they should live. So but if there is potential to create something healthy.
Well, it's the healthy part, right? People generally don't go in that direction, or at least if you want it to be healthy, you never label it that. It's just like a child, right? Getting him to eat broccoli, he ain't gonna eat it. You're gonna have to twist it up into something else and make it taste and look like something else. Example, yeah, chaotic is basically a conservative. And so that's kind of what he pitches, and basically his sales pitch is really by letting the underpinnings of the small percentage of the groups just eat themselves. So you get like a 5 second, you get like a 5-minute talking point on something that might be political or something that might be beneficial to society, and then you get 30 minutes of just trash talking where you're just bashing it's not even like the outsiders bashing anybody. It's them bashing each other. So they would call them like the degenerates, the red pill community that just want to go out and just bang everything. Take your pick. Could be on how people dress. It's kind of actually kind of a little bit ingenious. It's just that part of the culture I'm not really familiar with. I didn't grow up in the ghetto. I'm still trying to figure the inside of that part out. It's effective. Conservative, and
what is he?
That's the problem within conservatism. There's nothing appealing to the youth. All conservative platforms are basically bootstrapping. Like, if you want to get ahead, you pretty much bust your ass and work for like the next 10 years. And then after that, you get your reward. You can't really sales pitch that to kids. It just doesn't really work because impulse control, we want our stuff now, right? It's just not appealing. So for him, he's kind of making it at least entertaining.
Interesting.
And then so he gets the bottom third to fight among themselves, and then what happens?
Well, you're not going to get a conversion rate. Like, conservatism, I don't think anybody's ever figured that part out. Conservatism to the youth part, like, that doesn't work. But it generally bridges a gap. So for him, he's trying to basically bridge the white and the black conservatives together, because there actually is a divide in there, but conservatism is different. It's just different across regions, right? So like an upstate New York conservative is not really going to have the same problems as, say, like a Floridian conservative. All conservative really means is preservation of a culture or society. That's it. Like, and it's usually like small. So there's no conservative in upstate New York is usually going to be really harsh against taxes, right? It's just New York, right? That's the thing they're focusing on. The small town communities will be like, they'll do the funding cuts. They'll do weird things like that. So the thing they have to deal with is like the middle-aged household in New York, whereas Florida mostly going to be senior citizens. So now they're dealing with like the Social Security, cost of living, things like that. It's going to have a larger effect on them. So they don't have the same goals. Now, if you switch that over, you like break that out even to a wider group and start hitting like other countries, say Norway, Sweden, they're going to come across as like just flat out straight Nazis. They're really anti-immigration. And that's because they took in a whole mess load of Syrians that didn't exactly assimilate very well. And so now they're starting to kick them all out. So they brought in a couple 100,000, and they're now down to like about 80,000, and they're still kicking them out. They're looking for reasons to do it. So for them, any of their policies to us would sound like just ethno-nationalist.
That makes sense, though.
It does make sense.
I mean, it depends on what you're trying to conserve, and different cultures or regions are going to be conserving different values.
Correct. It's just the only problem is and it's the same thing I have with Christian nationalism. Boy, that's a really bad brand label. If you have the word nationalist in your name, guess who you're going to be mostly attracted? It's unavoidable. They pop in. They pop in all the damn time, and you have to do something about it quite fast because they'll ruin your platform. Hell, they'll even get you deplatformed just by basically mentioning a couple words real fast. It's like, Jesus Christ, you can't have nice things. You just can't.
Same thing with democratic socialists. Like, like why the hell would you adopt that? Why would the hell you'd adopt a label that has socialist in the title, no matter what it is that you're after?
Because they're socialists?
I mean, yeah, I know, but like they claim that they're not, but they still use the term socialist, and it's like, well, it's right there in the name. They're like, well, we're democratic socialists. It's different. Well, you still have socialist in the title, so maybe just don't use that. I'm just saying it's just dumb to name. I think we're saying like just like using the term Christian nationalist. It's just a bad idea. It's a bad brand. Like, why use that brand? Find a new brand. Find something else. Call it something else. You can figure out a way to call it something else. Trust me, you can. Sure, you can. And people might say like,
that's what I want to have. I want to have this conversation with Andrew. I think he's the one that can speak most intelligently about Christian nationalism.
I mean, I do think he can speak intelligently about it, but I still think no matter how intelligently he articulates it, I don't think there's anything he could say that would turn me around thinking that the term Christian nationalist as a platform brand type thing is a good idea. I think it's already been that well has been poisoned. There's no point in trying to use that as a label.
So he would just have to rebrand it, but
you have to rethink. Think about what you're actually standing for in that. Break it down to its pieces. I mean, if you just cannot, if maybe some people feel like it's just dishonest to call it anything else, if it really is just nationalism. But he kind of also has made claims that makes it sound like his version of Christian nationalism.
No,
isn't really quite the same.
he wants the separation between church and state.
Right, exactly.
Eliminated.
So like, he wants to
So it's
eliminate
not
it.
just nationalism.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess it's more than nationalism. Then I don't know, but I mean, if I were him, I would be fighting a new.
I'm not I think the U.S. needs some form of positive nationalism to hold us together.
I don't think there's anything wrong.
We need
with
an
the actual
American
philosophy.
identity and an American culture.
Philosophy is bad. But
from the philosophical, like if you're from a political agenda, right? Like you want like people that are citizens of the state to ultimately be most loyal to the state as opposed to the rest of the world. That would generally make sense. The problem is the word. That's not the connotation it still has. We don't know why. It's just it's more about if you use the word nationalist, what is the thing that pops in your mind the fastest?
But I don't like that people hold hostage language to what stupid people might connote. When they hear
course, but that's
I
the
don't care
mass of
what you call
society.
Because
I agree with what you're saying,
you have
Jeff.
to keep changing your words like every few years because of the
yes.
But that is the way language evolves.
society.
Language does evolve,
and
like
that's
that,
what the
though.
woke do. I don't think like that. I don't care what you call it. I want to talk about the actual. We need some kind of unifying narrative.
You don't, but you're not the massive society that are just a bunch of dumbasses that are incapable of just sitting down and actually just thinking before they say something, right?
Yeah.
You're kind of you're just not them, so you're not going to think that way, which is fine, right? But we're talking about the online space. We're surrounded by a bunch of damn teenagers.
See, I don't capitulate to the online space. Like they don't lead me. I do my own thing and try to lead them. But I'm not
right. But now, if you're trying to push an agenda, you're trying to get people to join your team, basically, right? Yeah, that's marketing.
Yeah,
and it's
Someone
just a really
said
bad.
That, the alt-right is what's getting rebranded as Christian nationalism. So it's the former alt-right, and now it's called
it could
Christian
be.
nationalism.
It most likely could be, and I've noticed this. There's a lot of extreme. Nobody will come. See, that's the problem. Nobody's going to outright come out and say it. An example: the Ortho Bros. Okay, so Jay Dyer's not any representative of orthodoxy. The problem is he's really appealing to a lot of the youth. And there's a lot of garbage within that. So
what is appealing about him?
Oh, well, it's kids. If you look at it, the vast majority of the groups, say 27 and under. And see, these are people that told you it's always going to be those people that have when their first step forward is animosity towards something. And some odd reason he's managed to collaborate with bunch of different groups, let's say ethno-nationalists, they'll be in there. Then you'll have some other guys that let's see here, I don't know why I'm always focused on the ethno-nationalists. They kind of bother me a little bit. But then there'll be the other people that'll have animosity toward other Christian sects, say the Catholics. Of course, there's always been a schism between the Catholics and the Orthodoxy. He's managed to get all of the people that feel like they're pissed off and put them all in the same room. I personally don't think that it's going to hold. The biggest problem with Christian nationalism is you're going to have to find sooner or later somebody's going to have to settle some doctrine issues. I don't think anybody's ever been able to do that.
Yeah, that's what Paul says too. So that is what the woke. He is the woke of the right. It's grievance.
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with it. It's just it hasn't. They won't come out.
Exploit grievance just like the woke are doing on the left.
Right. Just nobody has yet come out and said anything. There's been some really strange, Andrew's come out with a couple policies that I don't think society's ready for.
But none of those. I
would agree with that.
They're living in a fantasy world. None of those have any realistic chance of being implemented in the United States.
Yeah.
If we're a Christian nation at all, we're a Protestant Christian nation.
Have you ever noticed? Have you ever noticed? Yeah, have you ever noticed Andrew talk about rights?
Yes, I kind of agree with him on some of it.
Right, as like a descriptor. Now change that descriptor as a prescriptor. Example, what would happen if a bunch of dudes got together and decided, you know what, we don't want women to vote anymore? That was
Enough
his one
dudes are
big
not
talking
gonna get
point, right?
together and decide that. That's his fantasy. I mean, I agree with him philosophically that our rights are. That's how our rights work.
Right. So the real question comes down to is, okay, Andrew, you believe this as a descriptor. Okay, no problem. Would you ever switch that to a prescription?
What does he say?
Yeah, nobody's ever asked him, or I've never asked him.
Oh, I will.
But
Well, I'll ask him.
This is what it really comes down to. And so now, if you take the concept of like a good amount of Christians, even though the ones that wear it as a skin suit, right? You take the ethno-nationals, like anybody that's trying to like get in on there. All you really have to do is get enough pissed off people. Pissed off people are really easy to organize together. Not really, they're not good at managing, but getting them together in the same room, you can do it. Now, once they're in the same room, they're gonna blow up and destroy each other. But how long
or
they're in
destroy
office,
something. If you can direct the rage to something, that's what they did with the BLM. You know, they got a bunch of pissed off people and got them to focus all the rage on the city or whatever. And you know, so I mean, you can use it if you're an evil person. You can definitely use it to your advantage, which is what a lot of people try to do.
I just think the left has more numbers than the right. You're going to end up with one Charlottesville rally from the right, and you're going to end up with multiple cities across the U.S.
What group?
Violence.
I think the left has a lot more loud people, but I don't think they have more.
And they have a lot more younger people. And
well, I mean,
unfortunately,
look at
for
the
a campaign,
riots.
you need money.
You don't
that's
have
going to come with it.
nationwide riots from the right.
No, we don't. But it's not impossible. I mean, I guess you could. I mean,
they tried that January 6th. They tried that. Some of the state capitol here in Washington State, they went and did something at the Capitol here, and there were other states where at the same time as January 6th, they were yes. So that's why it did seem coordinated. It didn't seem like just the U.S. Capitol, because other state capitals also had groups go to their capital. My friend he was walking with his phone live. We were talking to him. He was streaming, and somebody at the state capitol here assaulted him and knocked the phone out of him. We saw it live. It was someone in a black mask, and it was all in response to January 6th. They were ready to go. But it was this small compared to what BLM was able to pull off. Like, they weren't able to get these riots at the state capitals going at all.
Well, I mean, a lot of that I think has to do with
My stream is kicking out.
The nature of conservatism, though, kind of doesn't lend itself towards revolution.
I'm getting notice.
You're getting a notice about what?
The right talking. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. The right.
The right talking about the numbers. You ever heard the term silent majority?
I'm freezing.
So it's not like the alt-right. It's actually the conservatives. At the end of the day, it's just the problem is oh my God, it's not that we're lazy. It's that we're too busy doing other things. I don't know, like raising kids or working a job, right? To really focus on politics. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of energy. Yeah. Like if you really wanted to like organize your town, you got to do the town hall meeting, you got to schedule it, and you got to convince people, hey, look, you're right. You know, work's not that important for, cut 3 hours off, talk to your boss, take a break. Most people not going to do that. Most of the middle class, they're all in there like, no, the job's the most, my family's more important than the political sphere at this moment, right? They're really hard to get them motivated. You almost have to.
Yeah, the conservative ethos just doesn't lead itself to revolution the same way that the leftist ethos does. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
and it's mostly, I mean, to be fair, like that's what they're doing. They're focusing on their family. They're focusing on at most their neighborhood, right? Now getting a township together, let alone a county or a state, now you're asking for a lot, and it's because they're busy.
Yeah. I was just saying a minute ago, too, when you're talking about labels, too, I just want to mention one thing. When I first came across the term alt-right, it didn't have anything to do with what the alt-right turned into. The term alt-right really was like very close to what we consider centrist these days, like at the beginning. So I'm just pointing that out just because saying like that's just how, the way we think of alt-right now, that language evolved because like the movement got taken over by crazy people, and it turned into a negative thing. And I'm just saying that's the same thing I see like with like, I know what you're saying, Jeff, about like you don't want to like kowtow to like the crazies, but at the same time, like whenever like a movement gets like identified by it, like what else can you do? Like, if no matter what you do, if you identify yourself by this label, people are going to automatically think you're a Nazi.
Yeah, but I'm a Satanist. I use that label. And
that's true. Well, and you use it well. You really do. You use it well. You use it as
that's
like
what I'm saying. You can.
Yeah. But I don't think that Satanism doesn't have as much of a bad connotation in the country.
I know. I wish
it
used to. What happened to it? I wish it had worse than it does.
Well, the Church of Satan started selling membership, and so like you could get in and get the information out, and they're like, oh wait, they're just political atheists, right? Like,
but they're they're wokesters.
Nowadays,
I don't want Satanism to become associated with woke. Cascade's about to do a stream exposing the new alt-right. If y'all want to go watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip it.
So you gonna do an open thing where you can jump on, or is it just like a closed thing, or what?
I don't know. Him and Trad Culture are doing it.
Now Trad is actually starting to really impress me. At first, when I first met him, I kind of started thinking he was like a dumbass, and then I got into voice and started talking to him. No, the kid's really damn smart. I was actually a little impressed with him. He does his homework. I mean, he really does his homework.
He's done a lot of research. I think he studied anthropology.
He showed up. He was on your little same little panel you guys were on with Mr. Mask. I hate calling him.
That's who I was having the conversation, the philosophical conversation with, and he could definitely hold his.
Yeah, Trad had some fun with him.
Oh, like Trad was on that same panel that we were on the other night.
Yeah,
the racist one. It was just later on. Later on
about 4. I guess
he was the one.
30 minutes
the
after you
racist.
guys.
He was the one that came on toward the end and kept making all of the good points.
Oh, okay.
And they kept talking over him.
I thought that was. I didn't know. I thought that was TC something or.
That is tradition.
That is him. Yeah,
I didn't know it was the same guy. I see TCPS is one. I didn't know Trad was. I didn't know that was the same guy. So that's why I was confused.
You know what?
Yeah,
I might as well just. Yeah, that's what it stands for. My stream keeps dying and resetting.
Okay.
So if I leave, are y'all still gonna be able to continue?
I mean, it seemed like it did last time. We remember we tried that before, and it seemed like it was okay.
I can leave and go to this other stream and watch it.
I mean, we can go. I mean, like I don't know unless you had anything more to say, Joshua. I mean, I really thought I think you were coming on because like I really thought what you had to say there was really insightful. So I'm very curious. I'm very curious about this kind of like what's happening with like the ortho stuff and everything. I think it's kind of interesting, but.
That's what that's Cascade's going to talk about all that. That's why I want to go see a stream because it's about the stuff we're talking about right now.
I know.
Okay.
I'm saying like I was saying I'd probably go over there too, but I just didn't know if Josh had anything else to say because I just
I got.
Should we end this one and head over there?
Yeah, if you want.
You gonna come out with us, Emerald?
Because it keeps fucking dying. I'm
don't
getting
have the link or
low
anything.
signal.
It's in the private chat. Click on the private chat tab.
Yeah, click on private chat and it's that first one there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll put it again.
We're gonna go watch a Cult of Children. It's like Children of the Corn.
I mean, we probably could stream it here. He probably wouldn't mind, but I'd rather just go give him the views and watch it.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So okay, well I'll catch everyone there. I'll head there now.
All right. Well, it's been if I don't see you guys, other guys over there, don't see you, Emerald, don't see you, Josh. It's really great talking to you. And I'll see you guys next time.
Good talking to you.
Yeah,
good
I'll
talking to you.
stream
See you
sometime
on
tomorrow.
Tuesday.
Tomorrow's Paul's having a show at 10:30, and then I'll probably stream in the afternoon.
I'll see you in the comments over there.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Take care.